Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Lord of the People. My dragon can be multiplied tenfold. Chapter 61. Hint. Kill the 5th order venom lizard. Get magic power plus 7/2, magic stone plus 1, magic crystal plus 1. Hint. Kill the 3rd order venomous lizard. Get magic power plus 1/7, magic stone plus 1. Hint. Kill the 7th level venom lizard. Get magic power plus 1/2, magic stone plus 1, magic crystal plus 1. Hint. Kill the 2nd order venomous lizard. Get magic power plus 5. Congratulations, Lord, you destroyed a small venomous lizard lair, and obtained 18,000 units of wood, 11,000 units of stone, 5,000 units of iron ore, 1,000 units of fine iron, 51 magic stones, and 2 magic crystals. The reputation and influence of your territory, the Supreme Hall, have been greatly improved in the Forest of Fear. At this time, Su Han was on the large balcony on the 7th floor of the City Lord's mansion, lying comfortably on the old man's chair, overlooking the entire territory. Beside him, there is the beautiful Harpy Queen Fina serving him tea, water and snacks from time to time, or hammering his legs and pressing his shoulders and so on. Now there are actually a lot of arms in the Supreme Hall, almost approaching 1,000. However, a small number of high-level arms such as harpies and centaur warriors were sent to patrol the territory, because some of them were mining the territory resources. The barbarian archers and goblin spearmen are the most elite arms, all of which are exploiting territorial resources. These 4 arms also have super evolved, and the centaur hero Angelina is fighting outside. Philip, the king of barbarians, and Antonia, the hero of goblins, are both outside the Supreme Hall, supervising the exploitation of resources in the territory of the 4 arms. When the Harpy King, Fina, was free, she was called by Su Han to take care of her. In addition, there are Dragon Legion and Light Nun Legion in the territory, the number is between 60 and 70. The leaders of the 2 legions are White Dragon Queen Hutao and Bright Priest Ivana. Su Han glanced at the kill prompt on the information panel, and said with a smile. Walnut, Ivana, Angelina and others have already destroyed 12 small alien forces, and there are 5 more. Su Han had looked at the power map before, and found that there were 17 small alien powers within a radius of 40 kilometers of the territory. So he asked Hudao and others to lead the Dragon Legion to suppress them, and then asked Ivana to lead the Sisters of Light to support them. Up to now, it has been more than 2 hours since the departure, and the success of Hudao and others is also very remarkable, clearing 12 small local forces. There are only the last 5 small local forces left, and they can be wiped out within an hour at most. When all the alien forces in the territory are wiped out, the rest are some scattered monsters, in groups of 3 or 4, or a dozen, or dozens. The dragon army pushed 12 alien forces in a row. Although it was only a small monster lair, there were 3 or 4 ruthless characters in it. Among them, 3 of the foreign powers have 7th level leader level powerhouses, and 1 foreign power has 8th level leader level powerhouses. But these were all destroyed in front of the powerful dragon army and became the spoils of the Supreme Palace. Su Han also gained a lot of magic power because of this, and now he has started to sprint to the 7th level. Although Hudao didn't break through to the 8th level, he was almost promoted. Angelina's progress is about the same as Su Han's, almost to the 7th level. In the dragon army, dozens of blue dragons, black dragons, and white dragons are also sprinting to the 7th level, and they will definitely enter the adult body today. In addition, the fastest progress is none other than the Nuns of Light. They used to be low level, only the 3rd level, and now they participated in the elimination of these small local forces, and immediately gained a lot of magic power, and each of them was promoted to the 5th level. Ivana, the Great Priest of Light, has also reached the 6th level, and her strength is also improving rapidly. That would be great. The glamorous Fina showed joy on her face, and continued. Master Hutao and Lord Ivana have led the army to wipe out the alien forces. Our territory will be much safer, and the soldiers can go further afield to collect resources. Su Han nodded, took out his right hand from Fina, and reprimanded, although Angelina belongs to the same ace unit as you, but now her strength is far superior to yours, and she is also fighting for the territory. She still needs to be respected. Su Han didn't understand Fina's little thought, so he just poked it out. Although the arms have 100 loyalty to him, it does not mean that they do not have their own wisdom. They are also independent, can think, and have personal emotions. There may even be gang formation. Su-han doesn't want such a thing to happen. It is best for these arms in the territory to be harmonious and to work together for the development of the Supreme Hall. Understood, my lord. Fina pouted, and said with some grievances. Her face was full of charm. Okay, you go too. Go find Walnut, she will let you hunt together. Su-han thought for a while, and let the goblin leave quickly, otherwise he might not be able to bear it anymore. Okay. Fina agreed to come down and headed out of the Supreme Hall. She is very shrewd, and she respects both Walnut and Ivana, who are higher in life level and stronger than her. But Fina will not respect Angelina, who is on the same level as herself. She only needs to serve the Lord. Ah. Seeing Fina's leaving figure, Su-han sighed, and the evil fire in his lower abdomen was extinguished. With such a glamorous harpy queen who can do whatever she wants by her side, Su-han can't help being tempted, but for the time being, she can't mess around with Fina. 0. He still has to wait for the walnuts. Hu Dao is the strongest commander of the dragon army under him, and he is also a high-ranking dragon. The two of them also have thoughts. But Hu Dao is still a dragon now, with a length of 20 to 30 meters and a height of nearly 10 meters. Even if he wants to ride a dragon, he is powerless. You can only wait for the walnut to become an adult. When Angelina appeared last time, Hu Dao wanted to suppress her, but was stopped by Su-han. It would be no wonder the little female dragon would not be angry if she knew that Su-han was messing around behind her back in the territory. If it is serious, it will even lose loyalty. After all, Hu Dao is not a diehard now. Su-han didn't mind this. Anyway, it wouldn't take much time for Walnut to grow to the 9th level, at most 3 or 4 days. When the little female dragon Hu Dao is dealt with, the rest can be ignored. Just then, a message came from the friend list. Su-han took a look, and saw that the royal sister Qin Zhaoshui and the little girl Vivian both sent messages, saying that they would be able to trade the refined weapons and equipment to him in an hour. Su-han froze for a moment. Why did the two send it together, almost at the same time? Qin Zhaoshui's troops are grey dwarves, elite troops, which are stronger than Vivian's ordinary dwarves, so they have to be refined first. Why did the two finish refining in about the same time? Su-han thought for a while, and soon got the answer. That is, Vivian's weapon refining building is more advanced than Qin Zhaoshui's. Subsequently, Su-han chatted with Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian, learned about how many weapons and equipment could be refined, and then praised them before closing the friend list. After being praised by Su-han, Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian felt better and worked harder. Su-han sold more than 100,000 units of food and nearly 20,000 pieces of weapons and equipment before, and let the second daughter know how powerful Su-han is. At the same time, I also deeply realized that they may not be as important to Su-han as imagined. Although their territory can refine weapons and equipment for Su-han, the refined weapons and equipment are far from what Su-han obtained from fighting against Ben Sheng's forces. In the past, the two women were worried about gains and losses, and they were afraid that Su-han, the First Lord, would abandon them and cooperate with others. Now I feel more determined, and I must work hard with Su-han. The little lowly Wei Wei, 580, and thinks very simply. She listens to Su-han big brother and does whatever Su-han is called. Qin Zhaoshui is a little different. After all, she is an adult Yuji, and she has also served as the student president of the university, so she knows the importance of Su-han. Although she didn't have those messy thoughts, she also knew that she had to follow Su-han closely in order to have a chance of surviving on this eternal continent. In the highest hall, Su-han looked at the sky and estimated the time. It is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and there are still 3 hours before night falls. Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian will deliver the equipment around 5 o'clock, so when should he sell this batch of equipment? The value of this batch of equipment is not low. Although there are only 10,000 units of materials, there are even a small part of high-level monster materials. According to Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian, Qin Zhaoshui can refine 1,100 pieces of weapons and equipment, and Vivian has slightly more, about 1,200 pieces. There are about 2,300 pieces of equipment refined from this batch of materials, most of which are low-level weapons and equipment. After thinking about it, Su-han made a decision to sell it at 5:30 p.m. Then Su-han turned on the World Channel, and sat a small commercial. Supreme Hall. At 5:30 this afternoon, the Supreme Hall will sell a large number of weapons and equipment, about 2,300 pieces, all lords are welcome to come and buy. Su-han didn't limit any resources, he has no shortage of rough wood, stone, iron ore and refined iron. The lords of mithril resources are also unable to get them out, and magic stones and magic crystals are the treasures of all lords, and it is impossible to exchange them. So Su-han didn't bother to limit it, just like selling a lot of food and weapons and equipment before. He didn't set up buying food with magic stones and magic crystals, so he set up magic stones to buy weapons and equipment. Even so, some of the high-level equipment and weapons were bought by the magic stone. It can be seen how tightly those lords covered the magic stone and crystal in their hands. This wave of small advertisements by Su-han immediately caused quite a stir on World Channel. It has only been 2 or 3 hours since he sold a large amount of weapons and equipment last time, and now he is going to sell them again, although the quantity is only 1/8 of the last time, about 2,300 pieces. But it also made countless lords look sideways, and was shocked by the speed of killing monsters in the Supreme Hall. Awesome! Is this the first lord? Worthy of being the strongest lord, destroying small local forces is just like playing. 2,300 pieces of weapons and equipment, if you give them to me, my territory can be upgraded from a large manor to a large castle in one day. Stop dreaming upstairs, how many arms do you have? You can't use more than 2,000 pieces of weapons and equipment. Great, I didn't grab it before, this time I will be on guard all the time, and no one will try to grab it from me. The old man's 50-year Keelin arm should work. Sigh, I didn't get weapons and equipment every time. A friend of mine got some weapons last time. According to him, he has already gained a lot, and the resources for buying weapons have been doubled. 1. Kneel down to all the big brothers, don't grab weapons and equipment from me, an ordinary lord. Opening square bracket comma closing square bracket. Su-han didn't pay attention to these, and closed the World Channel after sending out a small advertisement. What he is interested in now is that the 14th monster lair encountered by the dragon army is actually an ogre. This ogre seems to be an advanced unit. In the Forest of Fear. 23 kilometers north of the Supreme Hall. A small tribe of ogres is under attack by an army of dragons. Walnut commanded the dragon army to attack, while Ivana commanded the Nuns of Light to heal the dragons at any time. In addition to these two legions, there are two figures in the air and on the ground, one is the 6th level Angelina, and the other is the 3rd level Fina. After the Dragon Legion wiped out the 13th alien force, the Harpy Queen Fina arrived and joined Hutao, Ivana and others. This ogre tribe is not big, covering an area of less than 1 kilometer in radius. There are dozens of wooden houses inside, and 4 arrow towers with a height of 7 or 8 meters are built around them. In the middle is a 10-meter-high big house with a core crystal, which is also the residence of the leader of the ogre tribe. The ogre is a high-level unit with 4 professions: warrior, archer, shield soldier and shaman. This tribe is just a small ogre tribe, the strongest is an 8th-level shaman, and there are more than a dozen 7th-level strongmen. This level of strength is hundreds of kilometers away, which is considered to be above average, but it is a pity that they encountered the dragon army. The dragon army directly released the dragon power to suppress most of the ogres, and then breathed out the dragon's breath, destroyed the tribal buildings, and killed the ogres. Those ogres of the 7th and 8th ranks desperately resisted, and at most caused a little injury to the dragons, and were cured by the Nuns of Light in an instant. In just 5 minutes, one cannibal wide bottom was destroyed. Then Walnut, Ivana and others took the Dragon Legion and the Sisters of Light Legion to fight against the next small alien force. After 9 minutes of high-speed marching, they came to another destination, which was a gathering place of small alien forces. This alien tribe is called the Horned Demon, and it is also a high-level army. The Horned Ghost tribe is stronger than the Ogre tribe. In the tribe, there are 50.28 level chiefs, 37 level chiefs, and more than 700 other long-horned evil spirits. But under the absolute strength, the Longhorn Evil Ghost tribe was easily destroyed. All members of the Dragon Legion are at the 6th level, and they are about to break through to the 7th level, and their combat power is equivalent to 60 top 9th level powerhouses. White Dragon Queen Hutao's combat power is equivalent to that of a top sanctuary powerhouse. The combat power of the Dragon Legion was originally crushed, not to mention the Light Sisters Legion led by the Great Priest of Light, Ivana, assisted. Even if they were injured, they would be healed immediately. After destroying the Horned Evil Ghost Tribe, Hudao, Ivana and others led their army towards the 16th Alien Force. In the highest hall, Su Han also received prompts to kill after the Dragon Army pushed several alien forces such as ogres and long-horned demons across the board. Hint: kill the Third Order Ogre, Magic Power +2/2, Magic Stone +1. Hint: kill the Sixth Order Ogre, Magic Power +9/8, Magic Stone +1, Magic Crystal +1. Hint: kill the Eighth Order Ogre, Magic Power +1/8/7, Magic Stone +1, Magic Crystal +1. Congratulations Lord, you destroyed a small ogre tribe and obtained 19,000 units of wood, 12,000 units of stone, 5,500 units of iron ore, 1,200 units of refined iron, 55 magic stones, and 2 magic crystals. Congratulations Lord, you have destroyed a small horned demon tribe and obtained 20,300 units of wood, 12,800 units of stone, 6,000 units of iron ore, 1,300 units of fine iron, 59 magic stones, and 2 magic crystals. Congratulations, Lord, you destroyed a vampire bat lair and obtained 18,000 units of wood, 10,700 units, 4,900 units of iron ore, 1,000 units of fine iron, 50 magic stones, and 1 magic crystal. Su Han checked all the kill prompts on the information panel, and found that the Dragon Army had destroyed 3 more small alien forces. They are vampire bats, ogres 12, and horned ghosts. These 3 alien races are stronger than each other, and they are sus resources. After closing the information panel, Su Han opened the personal information panel, wanting to see how long it would take to advance to the 7th rank. According to his estimation, he should have almost been promoted. Lord Su Han. Strength, Tier 6 97%. Territory, Supreme Palace. Territory level, Level 3 Town. Territory arms, Giant Dragon, Nun of Light, Centaur Warrior, Harpy, Barbarian Archer, Goblin Spearman. Soldier buildings, Ancestral Dragon Nest, Mythical Unique Temple of Glory, Ace, Human Stables, Advanced Banshee House, Advanced Barbarian Hut, Elite Goblin Hut, Elite. Magic, Mass Collection. Equipment, none. Magic Stone, 5,601 pieces. Magic Crystal, 371 pieces. Is it already 97% of the 6th order? It seems that I don't have to wait until all the small alien forces are destroyed, and after the next alien force is destroyed, I can be promoted to the 6th rank. Before I knew it, there were already 6 types of military buildings in my territory. Su Han sighed, then looked at the arms building, and found that it was much better. Even in his territorial warehouse, there are 2 elite arms buildings, Black Wolf Cavalry and Griffin. Strictly speaking, there are actually more than 6 types of arms. After all, there are many super evolved at the original level. Su Han closed the personal information panel and calculated which levels of arms he had. Elite troops, Goblin Spearmen, Barbarian Archers, Black Wolf Cavalry, Griffins. Advanced arms, Centaur Warrior, Harpy. Top arms, Barbarian King, Goblin Hero. Ace troops, Nun of Light, Centaur Hero, Harpy Queen. Mythical arms, Giant Dragon, Great Priest of Light. Among them, there is currently only 1 Barbarian King, Goblin Hero, Harpy Queen, Centaur Hero, and Bright Priest. Su Han didn't know whether they should be included in the original arms or evolved into new arms. In addition, there is also the high-ranking Giant Dragon, White Dragon Queen Hutao, who has surpassed the mythical arms. Maybe it can be called super mythical arms. However, these are all Su Han's guesses. After all, this is not a real game, but the real world, and there is no official account for him. He actually knows a lot about the Eternal Continent through these units. Su Han likes to have in-depth exchanges with Angelina and Walnut at night. Just when Su Han was thinking, little Lolita Vivian sent him a message. And Wei, Su Han big brother, I have refined all the weapons and equipment you asked me to refine, hehe. Su Han big brother trade to you now. Su Han took a look, and Wei Wei completed the task earlier than Qin Zhaoshui, and her forging building was indeed more advanced. Su Han replied directly. Vivian, you can trade with me directly. I will give you the corresponding resources after I sell it. And Wei Wei, okay, Su Han big brother. Su Han big brother, my shop is called Vivian's Home, you can find it by searching. Su Han, good Vivian. Seeing the name of Vivian's shop, Su Han was slightly taken aback, but she didn't expect her territory to be called this. What a naive little loli. Now the Supreme Hall is also his home, and Su Han doesn't know if he can return to the multiverse he is in his lifetime. Su Han sighed slightly, opened the trading plane, found Vivian's shop, and received this batch of weapons and equipment. Not long after, Qin Zhaoshui, the royal sister, also sent a message, saying that she had completed the task. Su Han chatted with her for a few words, and accepted the weapons and equipment refined by her. Then Su Han looked at the time and found that it would be 5:30 in 20 minutes, so he was not in a hurry. Instead, he waited slowly. In the current weapons and equipment market, he is the seller, and the initiative is in his hands. However, he said that the sale at 5:30 would be at 5:30, and he would never deliberately advance or delay it. This is also a kind of credibility. Otherwise, he won't be able to earn one more unit of resources if he puts it on the shelves in advance, and instead will ruin his reputation, and lose the big for a small one. Time passed by every minute and every second. About 10 minutes later, another kill prompt came from Su Han's information panel. Su Han looked at it, and there were more than 600 information prompts in total. Obviously, the Dragon Army destroyed another alien force. Now there is only the last established alien force left in the territory, and all the others are scattered. Hint: kill 4040 level forest werewolves, magic power +34, magic stone +1. Hint: kill the 6th order forest werewolf, magic power +76, magic stone +1, magic crystal +1. Hint: kill the 8th level forest werewolf, magic power +236, magic stone +1, magic crystal +1. Opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Congratulations, Lord, you have destroyed a small forest werewolf tribe and obtained 23,000 units of wood, 12,600 units of stone, 6,800 units of iron ore, 1,400 units of fine iron, 60 magic stones, and 3 magic crystals. Su Han casually looked at some kill prompts, and then looked at the final destruction prompt. I didn't expect this forest werewolf tribe to be stronger than the horned demons, and they will get more resources after destroying them. But there are no 9th level Lord level powerhouses in the small alien forces. Or is it that the 9th level Lord level powerhouses are among those scattered wild monsters? Su Han frowned slightly, with some doubts in his heart. The maximum number of monsters within the territory should not exceed 2 ranks of troops. Now that Hutao is rank 7, there should be 9 ranks of troops within the territory of the Supreme Palace. Other lords avoided 9th level Lord level monsters, but Su Han wanted to meet them and kill them. Although there are no 9th level powerhouses in this forest werewolf tribe, there are still many 8th level big bosses. Give me a lot of magic power. A golden light flashed on Su Han's body, and he was promoted from the 6th level to the 7th level, his aura greatly increased. He moved his body casually, and found that his physical fitness had improved a lot, but the most obvious thing was that his mental strength had doubled. Su Han took a closer look at his personal attributes and found that all the data had increased significantly. The 7th level and the 6th level are really a watershed. Before the 7th level, there are only low-level and middle-level ones, but the 7th level has another name. Compared with the 6th level, it is much stronger. Su Han sighed unceasingly. Now he finally has some power to protect himself in the forest of fear. Although the 7th step is not too strong, it is not very weak either. And it's only the 3rd day as a novice. Except for him, most of those lords are only at the 2nd level, and a small number of lords have reached the 3rd level. Even those mythical lords are still sprinting to the 4th level, but Su Han has already been promoted to the 7th level. 5:30 in the afternoon. Su Han put all 2,300 pieces of weapons and equipment on the shelves in the Supreme Palace store on the trading plane on time. Supreme Palace. Items for sale. Low-level weapons and equipment. Remarks. Applicable to Tier 1 to Tier 3 arms. Click to view specific information. Price: 30 units of wood, or 20 units of stone, or 10 units of iron ore, or 5 units of refined iron, or 1 magic stone. Quantity: 1600 pieces. Intermediate weapons and equipment. Remarks: applicable to the use of units from Tier 1 to Tier 6. Click to view specific information. Price: 60 units of wood, or 40 units of stone, or 20 units of iron ore, or 10 units of refined iron, or 2 magic stones. Quantity: 650 pieces. Advanced weapons and equipment. Remarks: applicable to the use of units from Tier 1 to Tier 9. Click to view specific information. Price: 100 units of wood, or 80 units of stone, or 40 units of iron ore, or 20 units of refined iron, or 4 magic stones. Quantity: 50 pieces. This time, Su-han didn't close the trading plane after putting it on the shelves. He wanted to see how long it would take for those lords to buy all the weapons and equipment. As early as 5:20, or even 5 o'clock, many lords began to wait, paying attention to the shops in the Supreme Palace. These are ordinary lords who urgently need weapons and equipment. If they can buy weapons and equipment, their territory will develop much faster, even faster than elite lords. So I started waiting early, because I was afraid that Su-han would put weapons and equipment on the shelves in advance if he didn't talk about martial arts. When the time came to 5:30, more and more ordinary lords gathered, staring at the shop in the Supreme Palace, ready to snap up anytime. Those who dare to buy equipment, naturally have prepared resources long ago. Unknowingly, countless lords became nervous. The Supreme Hall sold 2,300 pieces of equipment. It seemed like a lot, but in fact it was very little. Because there are too many lords who want to buy equipment, if there is no 10 billion, there will be 8 billion. The moment Su-han put the weapons and equipment on the shelves, the competition began, and countless lords saw the weapons and equipment frantically snapped up. In just 1 second, in the blink of an eye, all the weapons and equipment were snapped up. This shocked countless lords. They all saw that there were indeed so many weapons and equipment on the shelves in the Supreme Hall, but they just blinked and were about to snap up, but the weapons and equipment were sold out. This is too fast. Countless lords were shocked and regretted at the same time. Why not move faster? Although according to the speed at which the Supreme Hall sells weapons and equipment, a batch of weapons and equipment may be sold before tonight. But the difference between early purchase and late purchase is not small, and the development time is shorter than others. What's more, if you didn't grab it this time, can you grab it next time? This made countless lords lament that there are too many monks and too little meat, the competition is too fierce, and weapons and equipment cannot be bought even if there are resources. Su-han was also surprised. This is too fast. Are these lords all century-old Qilin arms? I just had another thought, and when I came back to look at it, it was sold out. Although he had anticipated the hot market for weapons and equipment, Su-han was a little surprised by the popularity. But Su-han quickly recovered and began to count the harvest. At the same time, in 2 other places, the second floor of the underground world and the dwarf plain, Qin Zhaoshui and Wei Wei were also paying attention. Seeing that the weapons and equipment of the Supreme Palace were sold out so quickly, they were also very surprised, and then excited. This means that they will have a lot of harvest immediately, and they will get a lot of resources, and their territory has finally begun to embark on the road of rapid development. For a while, Yuji and Loli from different places began to look forward to it, expecting that Su-han would hand over the corresponding supplies to them. Supreme Hall. Su-han made a simple inventory and found that he had obtained a lot of resources in total. Timber, 34,000 units. Stone, 18,800 units. Iron ore, 6,400 units. Refined iron, 2,200 units. Magic stone, 40 pieces. It's a little bit. Su-han looked at so few resources and muttered. He really felt that it was quite small. After all, he had sold meat and weapons and equipment and obtained nearly 2 million units of resources just an hour or 2 ago. Now these resources add up to less than 100,000 units. Although it is too small, Su-han also knows that no matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat, and it can increase his resource reserves. Of course, it will be distributed to Qin Zhaoshui and Wei Wei, and the two will add up to 30%. In fact, Su-han also knew that the few resources for him were already very much for Qin Zhaoshui and Wei Wei. Two of their territories, one is only a large manor, and the other is only a small manor. How many resources are needed to upgrade the territory? From a small manor to a large manor, it costs 1,000 units of wood and 500 units of stone. From a large manor to a small castle, it costs 4,000 units of wood, 2,000 units of stone and 500 units of Qinma iron ore. From a small castle to a large castle, it costs 10,000 units of wood, 5,000 units of stone, and 1,000 units of iron ore. Refined iron is a resource cabinet that is needed only for a territory to be promoted to a first-level town. Su-han didn't delay, and immediately distributed the corresponding resources to Qin Zhaoshui and Wei Wei. And Wei Wei needed a little more. After all, there were more weapons and equipment for refining. Qin Zhaoshui and Wei Wei each received approximately 5,100 units of wood, 2,820 units of stone, 960 units of iron ore, 330 units of refined iron, and 6 magic stones. On the other side, Qin Zhaoshui and Wei Wei were overjoyed when they received the resources. There are so many resources. They have never had so many resources. Not even 1%. This strengthened the determination of the two to follow Su-han. The second floor of the underground world. Dark Zon Domain, under the Bone Mountain Range. Qin Zhaoshui was looking at the resources in the warehouse of the territory. Her expression was extremely excited and complicated. To be honest, she was a little worried before, afraid that Su-han would just use her to make her refine weapons and equipment and sell them without giving her resources. Otherwise, why would Su-han give her 30% of the profit? Even if it is 20%, or even 10% of the profit, Qin Zhaoshui can accept it. But now Su-han gave her the resources she deserved, almost immediately after the sale. How could Qin Zhaoshui not be moved by this? You must know that resources are necessary for the development of the territory. If the territory does not develop and grow stronger, it will not be able to stop the monster attacks of the novice test after the novice protection period ends. If I can see Su-han in the future, I must thank him very much. Qin Zhaoshui has decided to follow Su-han from now on and follow his instructions. She feels that Su-han is a different person, different from those she has seen before. Afterwards, Qin Zhaoshui came to the center of the manor, saw her light white core crystal, and an upgrade prompt popped up in front of her. Qin Zhaoshui upgraded without hesitation, upgrading the territory from a large manor to a small castle. Walking out of the center of the castle, Qin Zhaoshui looked at her own castle, feeling a surge of pride in her heart. In the future, this place will become a town, a city, or even a higher-level territory, as long as you follow that man closely. Qin Zhaoshui said to herself in her heart. Then she looked at the 860-unit building in the center of the square, the House of the Grey Dwarves, and a smile appeared on her face. Come on, now I have 10 magic stones, and I can upgrade it to level 2 by collecting another 20 magic stones. On the other side, the Dwarf Plain. The Golden Continent, under the Silver Mountains. A small manor named Vivian's Home is located here alone. A pure and lovely smile appeared on the face of the little Lolita Vivian, and she directly raised her territory from a small manor to a small castle. Looking at her own castle, the little Lolita Vivian danced excitedly. After being happy for a while, she immediately told Su-han Big Brother the news, hoping to share the happy news with him. Prime Material World, Dread Forest. Inside the High Hall. Su-han is checking the resources in the warehouse. This time, another batch of resources has been obtained, and the resource reserves in the territory have increased again. Territory resources. Timber. 1,647,900 units. Stone. 869,260 units. Iron ore. 415,580 units. Refined iron. 117,890 units. Magic stone. 5,629 pieces. Magic crystal. 371 pieces. After walking out of the territorial warehouse, Su-han received news from Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian. Has Qin Zhaoshui's and Vivian's domains been upgraded to small castles? Not bad. At this stage, those who can upgrade their territory to a small castle or at least senior lords and above. Su-han looked at the messages of the two, replied to them, and asked them to start refining mithril. As for the monsters in the territory of the two women are more dangerous, they do not have much ability to eliminate them and may not be able to collect enough silver mines. Su Han directly lent them an elite unit, Qin Zhaoshui's Black Dragon Cavalry, and Vivian's Griffin, and they will repay them at the next share. By the way, I lent 200 magic stones to the two women and asked them to promote the two elite arms to the 3rd level, and then go to wipe out the wild monsters in the territory. They also asked them to upgrade their grey dwarves and dwarves to the 2nd level and recruit more arms. In order to collect enough mithril as soon as possible, Su Han also spent a lot of money. However, Su Han feels that these investments are necessary and will not affect the development of his territory. With his help, the direct strength of the two women's territories has greatly increased, and they can clean up the monsters in their respective territories very well, protect their respective arms and mine silver mines. After Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian got the elite units and magic stones, they were stunned immediately and then extremely excited. Is this the First Lord? Sure enough, rich and powerful. Just throwing out BCDH, an elite unit and 200 magic stones, how powerful is Su Han's Supreme Hall? The two girls naturally complied with Su Han's request, and immediately built the units of the Black Dragoons and Griffins, and then raised them to the 3rd level in one go. Then each bred 32 elite arms. Their grey dwarves and dwarf units have also been upgraded to the 2nd level, but they will not be able to continue to breed until tomorrow. Then Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian asked their respective elite units to protect the grey dwarves and dwarves to go out to dig silver mines, and then bring them back to refine mithril. Seeing the news of the two women, Su Han was completely relieved. Tomorrow morning, I will be able to upgrade the Supreme Palace from a 3rd level town to a 2nd level city in one go. I am excited just thinking about it. Moreover, the road to the 3rd level of the Supreme Hall is also smooth, and he has 2 channels to obtain mithril. Afterwards, Su Han walked quickly to the ancestral dragon's nest in the center of the town. Although you can't upgrade to the High Hall today, you can still upgrade the Zulong nest from level 3 to level 4. At that time, more dragons will be bred tomorrow, and the strength of the Supreme Hall will also be greatly increased. Even if he borrowed 400 magic stones, Su Han still has more than 5,200 magic stones and more than 300 magic crystals, which are enough to upgrade the ancestor dragon nest. Su Han looked up at the huge ancestral dragon's nest, which was hundreds of meters high and 30 meters wide, and his heart was filled with excitement. Ancestral dragon nest upgrade conditions have been met. Do you want to upgrade immediately? Upgrade immediately. Su Han immediately said that it was finally time to upgrade the ancestral dragon nest. The ancestral dragon nest has finally been upgraded from level 3 to level 4, which is not easy. A piece of golden light descended from the sky, like the Milky Way spilling over the world, covering the huge ancestral dragon nest. A sacred, vast and stalwart aura emanates from the ancestral dragon's nest, making people want to surrender and bow their heads. A minute later, all the golden light disappeared without a trace, and a new nest of ancestor dragons appeared in the central square of the town. This is a huge dragon nest with a height of 300 meters and a width of 80 meters. It is like the greatest sacred dragon. It is engraved with countless dragons from the multiverse. Those dragons are looming, as if they can take off. An incomparably tyrannical coercion emanated from the Zulong's lair, and the holy stalwart's own aura filled the entire Supreme Hall, making the Supreme Hall seem to have a supreme flavor. Ancestral Dragon Nest. Characteristic. Mythical unique. Level. Level 4. Soldiers. 8 dragons can be bred every day. Additional effect. Increase the combat power of the dragon in the territory by 10%. Upgrade conditions. 10,000 magic stones, 1,000 magic crystals. Remarks. At least one high-level dragon must appear every time you conceive, and upgrading the ancestor dragon nest can increase the chance of conceiving a high-level dragon. Remarks. The ancestral dragon nest can breed all types of dragons in the multiverse. Note. Spending magic stones can shorten the time to breed a dragon. Looking at the information panel of Zulong Nest, Su Han had an excited smile on his face. Finally, the ancestor dragon's nest has been upgraded to level 4. From then on, 8 giant dragons can be bred every day, and with a tenfold increase, there will be 80 giant dragons. The strength of the Supreme Hall will be doubled tomorrow, and it will not be a problem to double the strength when the dragon's strength improves. Sure enough, there is a watershed between the 3rd level ancestral dragon nest and the 4th level. At the 3rd level, there is still a small probability of giving birth to a high-level giant dragon. Now, at the 4th level, a high-level giant dragon will be born directly. At least one high-level giant dragon is bred every time. If you are lucky, it is not impossible to bred 5, 6, 7, or even 8 high-level minister dragons at a time. In the long run, the strength of the Supreme Hull will usher in earth-shaking changes, and its rise is unstoppable. In addition, I didn't expect that the 4th level ancestor dragon's nest would have an additional effect, and the combat power of the dragon in the territory will increase by 10%. Although the increase is not large, the increase in the strength of the dragon army is not small. Looking at the panel of the ancestral dragon's nest in front of him, Su-han couldn't help but smile. But when he saw the conditions for the Zulong nest to be upgraded from level 4 to level 5, Yin-han couldn't laugh anymore. Upgrading to the next level actually requires 10,000 magic stones and 1,000 magic crystals. This is completely astronomical for Su-han. Before he managed to save more than 5,000 magic stones, now there are only 229 magic stones left. There are only 271 magic crystals. There is still 1,000 miles away from the conditions for the ancestor dragon's nest to be upgraded to level 5. It seems that I can only accumulate slowly for a few days. Su-han shook his head and smiled wryly. Even with the hunting speed of the Supreme Palace, it would take 2 or 3 days to collect so many magic stones and magic crystals. It would be great if there was a magic stone mine, even a small one. Su-han suddenly remembered that this rare resource is definitely a strategic treasure. There are magic stone mines in the Eternal Continent, and they are divided into small, medium, large, super large, giant and super giant magic stone mines according to their daily output. The magic stone mine not only produces magic stones, but also produces magic crystals, which is a cash cow for all major forces. Even a small magic stone mine can mine 1,000 magic stones and 10 magic crystals every day. A large magic stone mine can mine 10,000 magic stones and 100 magic crystals a day, which is enough to upgrade the ancestor dragon nest to level 5. Moreover, a large-scale magic stone mine can be mined for more than 2 years at least, and if it is mastered, it will be a steady stream of financial resources. If one can master a supergiant magic stone mine, that would be incredible. One day, 500,000 magic stones and 5,000 magic crystals can be mined, and even rarer materials than magic crystals can be mined. Of course, there is no need to think about these Su-hans, they are all in the hands of those powerful local forces. Even if it is discovered, Su-han dare not mine it now, and must wait until his strength is sufficient. Otherwise, once it is leaked out, it will suffer catastrophe, and the thousands of races and major forces in the Eternal Continent will not be merciful. Su-han shook his head and quickly put this matter behind him. His territory is in the Fear Forest, and it is generally difficult to find magic stone mines in the forest, so there is no need to think about it. Only by getting out of the Forest of Fear as soon as possible and radiating influence on this island can we plan these things. In the middle of the Forest of Fear, there is an extremely large castle here, covering a vast area, and the buildings in the castle are also extremely tall, with a floor height of more than 10 meters, most of which are Wong Kong Sakong buildings. At this moment, in this castle, there are many patrolling undead, involving many undead groups, ranging from the 4th to the 9th rank, and even Sanctuary and Legend. And in the center of the castle, there is a huge dragon hovering and reclining, exhaling the spirit of the undead, still sleeping soundly with its eyes closed. The strange thing is that this giant dragon has no half-flesh, not a drop of blood, and even no scales. It is covered with white bones, and there are fierce flames in the 2 eye holes. It turned out to be a bone dragon. Moreover, it is a hero-level bone dragon, and its strength is extremely powerful. You must know that although the bone dragon is not a real giant dragon, it is not a mythical unit, but it is an ace unit, and it is still the top one. The most powerful bone dragon can even reach the realm of the Hero King, glimpse the realm of demigods, run amok in purgatory, and coerce endless dimensions. No one knows that there is actually a bone dragon on the land of an island in this remote sea area, and it seems to be guarding something. If the major churches in the Eternal Continent learn about it, they will definitely send hero kings or even demigods to kill him and investigate the cause and effect. Asterisk. The other side of the Forest of Fear. Within the territory of the Supreme Palace, a great battle is breaking out. Walnut, Ivana and others are leading the Dragon Army and the Sisters of Light to encircle and suppress the last small alien force. Compared with the previous 16 small alien forces, or even medium and large alien forces, this small alien force is even stronger. In this small monster lair, there are no conventional buildings, but there are many tall holes. This is a snake nest, and it belongs to the Medusa family, the king of snakes. This is a branch of the Medusa snake clan, which is quite powerful. Medusa is a top-level unit, a gorgon, and her most famous innate magic is petrochemical. All creatures seen by Medusa will be petrified and turned into stone sculptures. In this lair of Medusa, there are more than 600 snake-haired banshees, whose strengths range from the 1st level to the 8th level. There is even a Lord-level powerhouse who is at the peak of the 9th level and is about to break through to the sanctuary. But at this moment, in the face of the Dragon Legion and the Sisters of Light Legion, these Gorgon Medusas don't have much resistance. Most of the Gorgons that are lower than the giant dragon can't move, and a few of the 6th order attributes are halved. And even the Medusa Banshees of the 7th level have their strength reduced by 20%, only the Medusa Banshees of the 8th level are not affected. Who are you? Why did you invade Medusa's territory? At this moment, the most powerful Lord Medusa breathed fire from his eyes, looked at the 2 legions in the sky and the ground, and the commanders at the head, and shouted angrily. Within the territory of the Supreme Palace, no foreign forces can exist. Hu Dao, who was about to break through to the 8th level, spoke in a cold voice, with a wingspan of more than 30 meters, like a nebula pressing down. Kill. Hu Dao didn't talk nonsense with this Medusa Banshee, and directly attacked. The Dragon Army also attacked, killing the Gorgons one by one and destroying Medusa's lair. That Medusa Lord rushed towards Hu Dao like crazy, not afraid that she was a high-ranking dragon, and his eyes were full of hatred. But she is no match for Hu Dao, not to mention that she has not broken through to the sanctuary. Even if she breaks through to the sanctuary, she will not be Hu Dao's opponent. In just a few hits, this 9th rank peak Medusa Lord was picked and killed for a long time. A mere 9th rank, dare to compete with me? Hu Dao looked at Lord Medusa's body and sneered. Kill. Not one left. Afterwards, Hu Dao issued an order to the Dragon Army, and the powerful Dragon Army launched a massacre, intending to destroy the lair of the Gorgon. Not only that, the Centaur hero Angelina and the Harpy Queen Fina also joined the battle to hunt these snake people. If it is injured, it will be healed by the Nuns of Light, and even the Great Priest of Light, Ivana, will rush to the battle. After the Dragon Army destroyed Medusa's lair, no one was injured. Carry the loot and return to the Supreme Hall. At this time, the White Dragon Queen issued an order to direct many giant dragons to carry the spoils. On the other side, in the Supreme Hall, when the Dragon Army attacked Medusa's lair, Suhan also received a series of message prompts, 657. Hint: kill the 5th order Medusa Snake Man, magic power plus 42, magic stone plus, magic crystal plus 1. Hint: kill the 3rd order Medusa Snake Man, magic power plus 1-2. Hint: kill the 8th rank Medusa Boss, magic power plus 244, magic stone plus 1, magic crystal plus 1. Hint: kill the 9th order Medusa Lord, magic power plus 391, magic stone plus 1, magic crystal plus 1. Reminder: congratulations to the Lord for destroying a small Medusa lair and obtaining 25,000 units of wood, 17,000 units of stone, 8,000 units of iron ore, 2,000 units of fine iron, 72 magic stones, and 4 magic crystals. Hint: you have obtained the top unit, Medusa Snake Man. Hint: the reputation and influence of your territory, the Supreme Hall, have been greatly improved in the Forest of Fear, and it has attracted the attention of powerful forces in the Forest of Fear. Suhan glanced at the information prompts one by one, and couldn't help but smile on his face. The last alien force in the territory turned out to be Medusa, which really surprised him. This Medusa family actually has a 9th rank Lord-level powerhouse. Before the appearance of the Supreme Palace, it was definitely the overlord force within a radius of 100 miles. But now that the Medusa family is dead, it has provided Suhan with a lot of resources, a lot of high-level materials, and a top-level unit. Although the High Hall has been noticed by those powerful forces in the Dread Forest, Suhan is not worried. It's still the novice protection period, can't they enter the Supreme Hall C? If not, just wait for a few days, and the number of his arms will be multiplied several times, and then just push across. Walnut, Ivana, Angelina, Fina and other women all returned to the Supreme Hall, while the dragon army carried corpses and trophies back and forth many times. The Nuns of Light also returned to the territory to recuperate. When the 9 great suns were about to fall, the giant dragon army finally brought back the corpses and spoils of monsters from 10 small lairs. Then, the centaurs, barbarians, goblins, harpies, etc. who collected resources outside the territory also returned to the highest hall one after another. At 7 o'clock in the evening, night fell. The fog of war emerged, and the area outside the territory was so gray that it was impossible to see clearly. If you look up at the sky, you will find that there are 3 rounds of red moons shining on the sky, and the boundless sky is not full of stars, big and small. At this moment, all the troops who had been busy killing for a day also returned and gathered in the central square of the town, forming several square formations. In the middle are the 60 dragons of the Dragon Legion, and next to them are the 70 Nuns of Light. On the left and right of these 2 legions are harpies and centaur warriors, each with 230. Then there are spear goblins and barbarian archers, each with 630. Su Han stood in front of the 6 legions, inspecting his units with a faint smile on his face. He is surrounded by the white dragon Queen Walnut, the priest of light Ivana, the centaur hero Angelina, the harpy queen Fina, and the barbarian king Philip and the goblin hero Antonia. Looking at the army in front of him, and at the commanders on the left and right, Su Han secretly sighed. Before I knew it, my territory had already gained such a powerful strength. The sanctuary-level powerhouses will be crushed when they come, even the legendary powerhouses can contend. You have worked hard, take a good rest at night, and you will all be rewarded. Su Han looked at the army of units in front of him, and said something to boost morale, which immediately made the units of the 6 legions very happy. Su Han didn't look at the monster corpses and various resources piled up behind him, but said to Hu Dao and others, I will go to the warehouse to collect a batch of supplies later, and reward them. Obey, my lord. Hu Dao, Ivana and others should be right away. After all the troops had dispersed, Su Han only had Hu Dao and Ivana by his side. Angelina and Fina went to make dinner for Su Han. Su Han opened his personal information and checked it. Lord Su Han. Strength. Level 7 4%. Territory. Supreme Palace. Territory level. Level 3 Town. Territory arms. Giant Dragon, Nun of Light, Centaur Warrior, Harpy, Barbarian Archer, Goblin Spearman. Soldier Buildings. Ancestral Dragon Nest Mythical Unique Temple of Glory Ace Human Stables Advanced Banshee House Advanced Barbarian Hut Elite Goblin Hut Elite. Magic. Mass Collection. Equipment. None. Magic Stone. 229 pieces. Magic Crystal. 271 pieces. My rank has also reached the 7th rank. If this continues, you can reach the 8th level before the end of the 5th day, and the 9th level before the end of the 8th day, and then sprint to the sanctuary before the end of the novice protection period. Su Han scanned his personal information and secretly made up his mind. Then he checked the information panels of Walnut and Ivana. It is found that Walnut has reached 3% of the 8th level, and Ivana is 81% of the 6th level, and will be able to reach the 7th level tomorrow. Although Ivana, the Great Priest of Light, has been promoted to the 6th level, her body size has not increased, but her temperament has become more holy. As for Hu Dao, the White Dragon Queen, although she is still a little short of an adult, she is already very large. Now she is about 40 meters long, more than 10 meters high, and the dragon wings are more than 60 meters long, and there are not enough magic runes on them, just like the wings of the starry sky. The 8th level White Dragon Queen is extremely powerful, and her combat power is comparable to ordinary legends, but if she encounters a legend of a powerful race, she will not be an opponent. In addition, the strength of other people in the territory has also improved a lot today. Angelina broke through to the 7th level, Fina broke through to the 6th level, Antonia and Philip were still at the 2nd level, because they didn't go hunting. In the Dragon Legion, the Blue Dragon, Black Dragon, White Dragon, etc. have all reached the 7th rank, which is comparable to the 9th rank. The Nuns of Light have also been promoted to about 70% of the 5th rank, and their strength has ushered in a transformation. Su-han began to count the harvest. This time, a total of 17 small alien layers were wiped out, and a few races that could not collect meat were eliminated, and a total of about 9,200 monster corpses were obtained. Among the more than 9,000 corpses, there are many different ethnic groups involved, all of whom can collect meat. Su-han thought for a while, took out 1,000 monster corpses, and rewarded the dragon army and other arms as their food tonight and tomorrow morning. Of course, the Dragon Legion accounted for the bulk of it. Hint: if you find a monster corpse, should you collect it? No, Su-han directly refused. More than 8,000 monster corpses were collected one by one. When will they be collected? Large-scale collection. Su-han didn't hesitate, and directly threw a large-scale collection technique. Then I saw a piece of blue light falling, covering a large square, and within 10 seconds, all the corpses of monsters covered by the blue light turned into meat and various materials neatly placed on the square. This large-scale collection technique is indeed an advanced magic, and it is much easier to use than the Lord's basic skill collection technique. Seeing this scene, Su-han had a look of joy on his face. He estimated and found a large-scale collection technique, which can collect 500 monster corpses at a time, increasing the efficiency by 500 times. Large-scale collection technique. Large-scale collection technique. Su-han threw more than a dozen large-scale collection techniques in a row, and finally collected and disassembled all the monster corpses. It took a total of 2 minutes, which made Su-han feel extremely relaxed. It just consumes a bit of magic power. A large-scale collection technique requires 100 points of magic power, 17 in a row, a total of 1,700 points of magic power are consumed. That's almost 1/5 of Su-han's total magic power. At this time, Su-han began to count the total harvest. The 8,200 monster corpses gave him 176,000 units of meat and nearly 30,000 units of materials. In terms of special resources, there are a total of 2,472 magic stones and 185 magic crystals. In terms of blueprints, I don't know if it was Su-han's bad luck that only 4 blueprints were released out of 17 alien forces. In addition, after destroying 17 alien forces, Su-han obtained a total of 15,000 pieces of weapons and equipment, including high, middle and low level, except for some aliens that did not use weapons and equipment. Destroy 17 small nests, and get a total of 306,000 units of wood, 213,600 units of stone, 10,900 units of iron ore, refined iron 218 unit. In addition, there are 903 magic stones and 50 magic crystals. In addition, 17 alien forces also provided Su-han with 4 types of arms, namely Medusa Snakeman, Venom Lizard, Horned Demon, and Vampire Bat. When Su-han saw the list of resources, the smile on his face got bigger. With this large amount of resources, the resource reserves of the Supreme Hall can be said to have increased a lot. Then, with a thought, Su-han collected all the resources in the square into the warehouse minister. Su-han talked to Hudao and asked her to watch the dragon army, and then brought Ivana to the warehouse and opened the warehouse resource panel. Wood, 1,953,900 units. 1,082. Iron ore, 523,580 units. Refined iron, 139,690 units. Mithril, 0 units. Magic stone, 3,604 pieces. Magic crystal, 506 pieces. Number, 50,000. Food, 176,000. Weapons and equipment, 15,000 including high, middle and low level. Drawings, 4 unidentified. Unit buildings, 4 Medusa Snakeman, Venom Lizard, Horned Demon, Vampire Bat. Not bad. Timber resources are close to 2 million, stone resources are over 1 million, iron ore is over 500,000 units, and milling is over 100,000 units. Even there are more than 3,600 magic stones and more than 500 magic crystals. The upgrade conditions for the Ancestor Dragon Nest have reached 1/3. If you work hard tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, you will be able to upgrade the Ancestral Dragon's Nest to level 5. Su-han looked at the resources in the territory with a smile on his face. Then Su-han checked the 4 arms. The Medusa Snake Man was the top class, the Horned Demon and the Venom Lizard were the advanced arms, and the Vampire Bat was the elite class. It seems that the only one that can be used is the Medusa Snake Man. Not only can it be used to mine resources, but it can also be used as the defense army of the Supreme Palace. Horned demons, venomous lizards, and vampire bats are useless. You don't need them to kill monsters, and you can't collect territorial resources. Let's keep them and sell them. While Su-Han was thinking, he decided on the future use of these 4 arms. Afterwards, Su-Han and Ivana went to the Santos mansion and had dinner with Fina and Angelina. After eating and drinking, Su-Han opened the friend list and found that both Qin Zhaoshui and Weiwei had sent him messages. Su-Han first checked Qin Zhaoshui's. Qin Zhaoshui, Su-Han, thank you for your support of the Black Wolf Cavalry. I have let them guard the Grey Dwarves from digging the silver mine. Quote, Qin Zhaoshui, the night is here, and the Grey Dwarves have returned, bringing back a total of 1,200 units of silver mines. The Grey Dwarves said that only 4 units of silver mines can extract 1 unit of mithril, and about 300 units of mithril can be extracted. It will be completed at about 8 o'clock in the evening. Can we trade directly at that time? Su-Han thought for a while and replied, I see, you can contact me after you finish. Then Su-Han checked Weiwei's news. Weiwei, Su-Han big brother, the dwarf's uncles came back from mining and brought back a total of 1,300 units of silver mines. So many silver mines can refine about 330 units of mithril. The dwarf uncles said that the refining will be completed around 8:30. After I'm done, I'll trade all mithril to Su-Han big brother, hee hee. Su-Han, alright Vivian, thank you for your hard work. Su-Han replied to Weiwei, and closed the friend list 3. Qin Zhaoshui can have 300 units of mithril, and Vivian has 330 units of mithril, which adds up to 630 units. It seems that the Supreme Hall will be upgraded to a first-tier city tomorrow morning. Mithril resources are insufficient, and Su-Han has no choice. Who needs 4 units of silver mines to extract 1 unit of mithril? Su-Han has already made a plan, and when the batch of mithril is delivered, he will distribute the 50,000 units of materials in the warehouse to Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian to refine weapons and equipment. Anyway, it was night, and their troops couldn't go out, and they didn't have silver ore refining, so they were idle too. In this way, there will be a lot more when selling weapons and equipment tomorrow morning. As for the weapons and equipment in the warehouse, as well as food, Su-Han is considering whether to sell them tonight or tomorrow morning. But Su-Han just hesitated for a while before making a decision. Sell the weapons and equipment tonight. Now that there are more and more lords selling food, the value of food will only get lower and lower, and the resources earned by selling food one day later will be much less. The same is true for weapons and equipment. If you sell them one day later, the risk will be much greater, and there will be more and more lords selling weapons and equipment in the market. After making a decision, Su-Han immediately opened the trading plane, and put food and weapons and equipment on the shelves in the shop of the Supreme Hall. And marked the corresponding price. It is still written exactly the same as when it was sold in the afternoon. It's just that the amount of food and weapons and equipment of various levels has changed. Although Su-Han didn't do publicity, there are too many lords who pay attention to the movement of the Supreme Hall. Especially at night, countless lords are not allowed to go out, and only a few lords go to break through the fog of war. Su-Han's sale of weapons and equipment immediately attracted a large number of lords to rush to buy them. In less than a minute, all 15,000 pieces of equipment of all levels were sold. Those lords who didn't rush to buy weapons and equipment bought some food and went back. Anyway, they will buy it tomorrow. 15 minutes after the weapons and equipment were sold out, the 176,000 units of food were finally sold out as well. This incident naturally caused an uproar in 860, attracting the attention and discussion of countless lords. Even those ace lords and myth lords felt a great sense of oppression. Originally, they thought that Su-Han's troops were stronger than the front, just slightly ahead of them. Over time they will catch up and even surpass Su-Han. But what I didn't expect was that as time went by, the gap between them and Su-Han became wider and wider. Just look at the amount of food and weapons sold by Su-Han today. Tonight alone, there are 176,000 units of food and 15,000 pieces of weapons. This is just one of the several sales in the Supreme Palace in a day. In a day, there are at least 400,000 to 500,000 units of food, and 40,000 to 50,000 pieces of weapons and equipment. Compared with those mythical lords, it is too much, 10 times, even 50 times, hundreds of times. How does this not make those myth lords feel, Alexander? But these have nothing to do with Su-han, and Su-han didn't pay attention to the World Channel. After selling food and weapons, he turned off the trading plane. Then I counted the resources BCCA obtained by selling meat and weapons and equipment this time. The total is: timber, 826,600 units. Stone, 410,700 units. Iron ore, 177,300 units. Refined iron, 69,820 units. Magic stone, 316 pieces. Not bad. The meat and weapons sold this time are actually more than the resources obtained in the afternoon, which is unexpected and reasonable. With this batch of resources, when mithril resources are in place tomorrow, the Supreme Palace can be upgraded to a second-tier city, or even a third-tier city. Seeing the huge amount of resources obtained from the sale of goods this time, Su-han was so happy, and wished to have an in-depth exchange with Angelina now. After Su-han sighed, he received news from Qin Zhaoshui and Weiwei one after another, knowing that they had finally refined mithril. So Su-han talked with the two sisters and Lolita, and finally set the price of mithril. Mithril is a rare resource, although it is not as good as magic stone, but it is not far behind, so it is naturally extremely expensive. But of course Su-han will not buy at the market price. The price he buys is about 50% lower than the market price. Regarding this, Qin Zhaoshui and Weiwei didn't know about it. They did know how precious mithril was, but even if the two daughters knew about it, they wouldn't feel that Su-han was taking advantage. After all, they can extract mithril, so it can be said that Su-han put in most of the effort. After finishing the transaction with Yuji Qin Zhaoshui and little Lolita and Weiwei, Su-han finally got 630 units of mithril. Although it is not enough to upgrade to the High Palace, it is not far behind. Then Su-han traded 20,000 units of materials to Qin Zhaoshui, and 30,000 units of materials to An Weiwei, allowing the two of them to refine weapons and equipment. After storing all the mithril in the warehouse, Su-han also took out one thing, which was naturally the top unit Medusa Snakeman. Although it is night now, it does not prevent him from building unit buildings. And the arms buildings are built as early as possible. After all, you can get more arms. Coming to the right side of the central square of the town, Su-han walked to the side of the Temple of Glory and prepared to build this top unit here. The unit building of the Medusa Snakeman is called Medusa's Cave, which is a lair-type building, somewhat similar to the ancestral dragon's lair. Medusa Snakeman. Level. Top arms. Soldier building. Cave of Medusa. Construction conditions. 5,000 units of wood, 2,000 units of stone, 2,000 units of iron ore, 500 units of refined bot, 30 magic stones. As expected of a top-level unit, the construction resources are much more than high-level units. It takes 30 magic stones alone, which is enough to upgrade a common unit building to the second level. Su-han looked at the information in front of him, shook his head and laughed. Construction conditions of Medusa's Cave have been met. Do you want to build it now? Put up, Su-han said directly. A prompt appears, showing how many resources are consumed, and the construction is successful. The golden light descended and landed on the open space in front of Su-han. A minute later, a huge nest appeared. Although there were not as many nests as the original ancestor dragon nest, it was almost half the size. The shape of this nest is a huge Medusa, which looks lifelike and beautiful. Su-han immediately called up the information panel of the Cave of Medusa to check. Cave of Medusa. Characteristics. Top. Level. Level 1. Soldier type. 4 Medusa Snakemen can be bred every day. Upgrade condition. 100 magic stones. Remarks. Spending magic stones can shorten the time to breed a Medusa Snakeman. Does it only take 100 magic stones to upgrade the buildings of the top arms? Su-han murmured without any hesitation, ready to upgrade Medusa to the third level. The third level Medusa Cave can give birth to 16 Medusa Snakemen every day, which is 160 under a tenfold increase, which is quite impressive. Medusa Cave upgrade condition has been met. Do you want to upgrade now? Upgrade. It costs 100 magic stones to upgrade Medusa Cave to level 2, and it costs 200 magic stones and 2 magic crystals to upgrade it to level 3 again. Upgrading Medusa's Cave from level 1 to level 3 only costs 300 magic stones and 2 magic crystals. Cave of Medusa. Characteristics. Top. Level. Level 3. Soldier type. 16 Medusa snakemen can be bred every day. Upgrade conditions. 500 magic stones, 10 magic crystals. Remarks. Spending magic stones can shorten the breeding time of Medusa snakeman. As the condition for upgrading the top level unit building from level 3 to level 4 only half of that of the ace unit. Comparing the upgrade requirements of the Temple of Glory, Suhan found that the upgrade requirements of the Cave of Medusa are much lower. However, the number of troops that can be bred every day in the Cave of Medusa is double that of the Temple of Glory. 16 Medusa snakes are bred in one day, and if the field is multiplied, it will be 160 males. Tonight's 160, plus tomorrow's 160, is 320 Medusa snake people, enough to form a Medusa army. Looking at the Medusa's lair, which is tens of meters high, Suhan has no intention of continuing to upgrade. The third level Medusa's cave is enough for the Supreme Hall for the time being. Although he currently has more than 3,000 magic stones, they cannot be used indiscriminately. He has to prepare for the upgrade of the ancestral dragon nest. Under the blessing of the eternal flame, the entire territory is brightly lit at night, just like daytime. Suhan took a few steps forward, and a prompt popped up immediately. The magic power of the Medusa cave is up to the standard. Is it possible to breed the Medusa snakeman? Breed, Suhan said directly. After the words fell, a strong light lit up in Medusa's cave, and snake eggs appeared one by one, a total of 16. At this time, a series of reminders sounded in Suhan's mind. Tenfold increase starts. You get 10 Medusa snakemen. You get a Queen Medusa. You get 10 Medusa snakemen. With 161 prompts in a row, 151 Medusa snakes have been increased. To Suhan's surprise, a Queen Medusa appeared in the second boost this time. Originally, he thought there would be a second one, but he didn't expect that there would be no more. Let's just have one, anyway, you won't suffer. According to the previous rules, the super evolution of the top level arms is the mythical arms, and Queen Medusa is undoubtedly the mythical arms. Seeing the remaining 151 snake eggs after the light dissipated, one of which was 2 or 3 times larger than the others, Suhan thought deeply. Soon, all the snake eggs were broken, and Medusa snake figures appeared one by one, and they came out and stood in line. Queen Medusa commanded all Medusa snake people to stand up, then came to the front, bent at 90 degrees to Suhan, and said respectfully, "My lord, we are here to serve you. 1. Please get up." Suhan said with a smile, and then looked at these Medusa snake people. He found that these Medusa snake people are not tall, they should still be in the juvenile body. The lower body is a snake body, the upper body is a human body, and there are human heads and hands. At the junction of their human body and snake body, they also wore some long skirts, covering part of the snake body, and the upper body also blocked the chest. In addition, their hair is actually snake hair, which looks like little snakes. Then Suhan looked at Queen Medusa at the front again. This Queen Medusa is extremely beautiful, celestial beauty, and has the size of an adult, if the 2 to 3 meter long snake body placed on the ground is not counted. She is also half human and half snake, but compared to those ordinary Medusa snake people, she is more beautiful and powerful. She was wearing a red skirt armor on her lower body, and only a corset on her upper body covered her sensitive parts. She had wrist armor and shoulder armor on her arms, which looked extremely attractive. Her hair is black and beautiful, long hair shawl, just like human beings, and there is a big gold headdress on her forehead. The faster Suhan felt, the more she felt that this Medusa queen was similar to the one she remembered. Although the beautiful Queen Medusa is standing in front of her, Suhan doesn't have any bad thoughts right now. Angelina and Fina next to Suhan looked at Queen Medusa with hostility, but Ivana was calm. Afterwards, Suhan began to check the information panels of these Medusa snake people and Medusa queen. Medusa snakeman. Growth status. Juvenile body. Strength rank. Second rank. Loyalty. 100. highest potential, complete body, legendary. Remarks. Medusa snake people are divided into juvenile body, adult body, mature body, perfect body, and ultimate body. Queen Medusa. Growth status. Adult body. Strength rank. 4th rank. Loyalty. 100. Highest potential. Ultimate body, silver demigod. Remarks. Medusa snake people are divided into juvenile body, adult body, mature body, perfect body, and ultimate body. The information panel of the Medusa Snake Man is similar to that of other top-level units. On the contrary, this Queen Medusa is worthy of being a mythical unit. The initial stage is Tier 4, and the growth limit can even reach the Silver Demigod. And this Queen Medusa is actually not a juvenile body, but an adult body, which is interesting. Su-Han looked at the information panels of Medusa Snake Man and Medusa Queen and smiled. Although this Queen Medusa cannot become a true god by killing monsters in the future, it is not bad to become a demigod, comparable to some giant dragons. 0. Looking at Queen Medusa in front of her, Su-Han thought for a while and said to her, "From now on, you are Alphalia. Thank you Lord for giving me the name." Medusa Queen Alphalia bowed and said, her face full of respect. From Su-Han's perspective, he can see many things, but he just looked at it briefly and said, "Get up." Su-Han is not a color critic, and there will be opportunities in the future. However, it seems that there are many more strange species in the territory, such as harpies, snakes, horses, dragons, female officers of light elements, and so on. Will there be more bunny ears, cat girls, etc. in the future? Thank you Lord. Alphalia got up, and the other Medusa snakemen also got up. Take them down first, familiarize yourself with the territory, and remember not to leave the city. After Su-Han finished speaking, he looked at Queen Medusa, and left with Angelina and others. Su-Han is naturally extremely comfortable after acquiring a new mythical unit level Queen Medusa. After returning to the city lord's mansion, Su-Han lay on a chair, watching the chats of the lords on the World Channel, and enjoying the massage from the Nuns of Light. Angelina, Fina and others were all taken away by him, and now there are only Ivan and dozens of Nuns of Light in the Castellan's mansion. Although he didn't do anything, Su-Han was very happy to see so many beautiful flowers. Time passed and the night gradually passed. Talent. Chapter 71. Morning. 3 red moons fall, the fog of war dissipates, and 9 great suns rise. The eternal blazing sun shines on the endless dimensions of the multiverse, spreading brilliance and vitality. In the Supreme Hall, Su-Han walked out of the bedroom, washed up, and then had breakfast under the service of several bright nuns. What a corrupt life. But Su-Han thinks this kind of life is pretty good. Opened the friends list and looked. Qin Zhaoshui and Wei both sent messages, asking whether to refine the remaining materials into equipment first, or go out to mine silver mines first. Su-Han directly asked them to mine the silver mine first, and then refine the remaining materials to equip weapons. Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian naturally agreed. From the 2 women, Su-Han also learned that today they gave birth to new arms again, and the number of arms in the territory has greatly increased, almost doubled. In this way, they can dig silver mines while hunting monsters in the 3 Kingdoms hunting territory. Walking out of the city lord's mansion and coming to the central square of the town, Su-Han found that all the arms in the territory had gathered. It seems to be waiting for his review, and it seems to be waiting for his instructions. Su-Han nodded slightly, didn't say much, but came to the ancestor dragon's nest first. Naturally, he is not alone, and there are Walnut, Ivana, Angelina, Alphalia, Fina and others by his side. The magic power of the ancestral dragon nest reaches the standard. Is it possible to breed a new dragon? Breed, Su-Han said directly. 8 dragon eggs appear in the ancestral dragon's nest, which are divided into 7 colors, namely red copper, black, silver, bronze, emerald, crystal and red. Tisk tisk, it is indeed a 4th level ancestor dragon nest, and it is not the same as a 3rd level ancestor dragon nest. 7 kinds of giant dragons were bred all at once, and there was also a red dragon, which is a high-level giant dragon. Su-Han thought in his heart, and a series of reminders sounded in his mind. Tenfold increase starts. You get 10 red copper dragon eggs. You get 10 black dragon eggs. You get 10 silver dragon eggs. You get a red dragon egg. Su-han looked at all the prompts immediately, with a look of excitement on his face. Today's ancestral dragon nest has bred a lot of good things, enough to make the strength of the Supreme Hall skyrocket. After the tenfold increase, 10 black dragons, 10 red copper dragons, 10 crystal dragons, 10 emerald dragons, 10 silver dragons, 10 bronze dragons and 10 super evolved red dragons will be added to the territory. Su-han didn't know which level this red dragon belonged to among the giant dragons. In the majestic ancestral dragon nest, 71 dragon eggs were broken, and 71 giant dragons appeared. Not long after, Su-han couldn't hide the smile on his face as he looked at the 71 dragons in front of him. All of a sudden, there were 71 more dragons, and the number of dragons in the territory doubled directly, and many of them were second-level dragons, and there was also a high-level dragon. Although these giant dragons are still juveniles, they are getting bigger and bigger. The red dragon in the front is directly more than 10 meters long. Among them, the black dragon, the bronze dragon, and the red copper dragon are all first-level giant dragons. Crystal dragons, silver dragons, and emerald dragons are the second-tier giant dragons. The red dragon was originally a high-level giant dragon of the third level, but now after 10 times the increase, it is at least a high-level giant dragon of the fourth level. This is a female red dragon, the king of the red dragons. Just standing there can make all giant dragons, and even other arms, surrender. Even Hu Dao, whose rank is higher than her, bowed her head slightly at this moment. She is only a dragon of the third rank. Bronze dragon. Growth status. Juvenile dragon. Level. Tier 4. Loyalty. 100. Highest potential. Extremely old dragon, silver demigod. Remarks. Dragons are divided into juvenile dragons, adult dragons, mature dragons, old dragons, extremely old dragons, ancient dragons, and ancient dragons. Su-han looked at other bronze dragons, black dragons, and red copper dragons, and found that their templates were almost exactly the same. Silver dragon. Growth status. Juvenile dragon. Strength level. Tier 5. Loyalty. 100. Highest potential. Extremely old dragon, platinum demigod. Remarks. Dragons are divided into juvenile dragons, adult dragons, mature dragons, old dragons, extremely old dragons, ancient dragons, and ancient dragons. The other silver dragons, and emerald dragons are also the same template, the second-level giant dragon. Then Su-han began to check the last red dragon, and it was no surprise that this was the unit with the highest life level in the territory. Red Dragon Queen. Growth status. Juvenile dragon. Strength rank. 7th rank. Loyalty. 100. Highest potential. Ancient dragon, powerful divine power. Remarks. Dragons are divided into juvenile dragons, adult dragons, mature dragons, old dragons, extremely old dragons, and ancient dragons. It was a 7th order high-level giant dragon at the beginning. The highest potential can reach a powerful divine power. It's too awesome. Su-han was shocked when he saw the information panel of the Red Dragon Queen, which was a level higher than the attribute panel of the White Dragon Queen. It seems that the Red Dragon Queen is a 4th-level high-level dragon. I didn't expect that there would be a tenfold difference between the high-level dragons of the 3rd level and the high-level dragons of the 4th level. But this Red Dragon Queen is really strong when she grows up. She is actually a god of good fortune. From a demigod to a true god, there are several steps, which are also the division of demigod's strength. From the bronze demigod who gave birth to divine power, to the silver demigod who condensed divinity, to the golden demigod who created the divine body, and finally to the platinum demigod who ignited the divine fire. Afterwards, the platinum demigod uses divine fire to gather the divine power and nature of the whole body, condenses the corresponding priesthood, and can be promoted to a true god. Of course, this is only the weakest weak divine power, also known as the new god. After becoming a new god, the divine power of the gods is actually not much, and then they have to condense the godhead, and finally raise the kingdom of God to Xingxi. After completing these, you have basically reached the peak of weak divine power. After entering the god realm, it will not take long to be promoted to a true god with weak divine power. The realm of true gods is divided into levels by divine power, divided into weak divine power, medium divine power, and strong divine power. The Red Dragon Queen can quickly advance to powerful divine power by hunting enemies, but that's all for 4.4. If you want to break through the limit and be promoted to the main god, you need the assistance of extremely cherished special items. Looking at the Red Dragon Queen in front of him, Su-han thought for a while and said, "From now on, you are Catherine. Thank you Lord for the name." The Red Dragon Queen Catherine's eyes flashed a humane joy, and she bowed respectfully to Su-han. Su-han looked at the White Dragon Queen who down next to him, thought for a while and said, "Because there are not many dragons in the Supreme Hall, the legions will not be divided by race for the time being. Currently, there are only 2 dragon legions. Hutao, you command the first dragon army composed of 90 dragons including white dragons, black dragons, red copper dragons, and bronze dragons. Catherine, you command the second dragon army consisting of 40 dragons including blue dragons, silver dragons, emerald dragons, and crystal dragons." Su-han's arrangement is also a last resort. Hu Dao was the first to follow Su-han, and now she is an 8th level high-level dragon. Although she is lower than the Red Dragon Queen, it is not easy for Catherine to take away all the power when she comes. With this arrangement now, not only did it not weaken the strength of Hu Dao's subordinates but it strengthened it. The dragon army changed from 60 dragons to 90. And Catherine, the Red Dragon Queen, a high-ranking dragon who is 1 level higher than the White Dragon Queen Walnut, can also command the dragon army. And they are all composed of 2nd-level giant dragons, all of which are top mythical arms, and there are quite a few in number, a total of 40 giant dragons. "Obey, my lord." Walnut and Catherine looked at each other and accepted it. Seeing that both Hu Dao and Catherine agreed, Su-han nodded in satisfaction, and then came to the front of the building of the human stables. People's Stables. Feature. Advanced. Level. Level 2. Soldier type. 12 centaur warriors can be bred every day. Upgrade conditions. 150 magic stones, 1 magic crystal. Remarks. Spending magic stones can shorten the time to breed centaur warriors. The human stables are only at the 2nd level, which is still too low. Let's upgrade to the 3rd level. Su-han's idea of 12 floating rooms raised the people's stables to the 1st level. The 3rd level human stables can breed 24 centaur warriors every day, and the tenfold increase is 240 centaurs. After finishing these, Su-han came to the Temple of Glory to breed today's troops, and then went to Medusa's cave, human stables, Banshee's house, goblin hut, and barbarian hut. As batches of arms were bred, the number of arms in the central square doubled directly, or even more. To Su-han's slight disappointment, except for the Red Dragon Queen from the ancestral dragon's nest today, the others were all increased in number. After recruiting all the troops, Su-han brought several high-level officials from the Supreme Hall to the steps of the City Lord's mansion, overlooking the central square. It can be seen from here that there are a large number of various arms standing in the central square, arranged in 8 square formations. The 6 types of arms, including the Nuns of Light, are all in 1 square formation, but the dragon army is divided into 2 square formations. The current situation of the troops in the Supreme Hall is as follows. 1st Dragon Legion. Commander. White Dragon Queen Walnut Level 8. Members. 20 Tier 7 Black Dragons, 20 Tier 4 Black Dragons, 30 Tier 7 White Dragons. 2nd Dragon Legion. Leader. Red Dragon Queen Catherine Level 7. Members. 10 Tier 7 Blue Dragons, 10 Tier 4 Silver Dragons, 10 Tier 4 Emerald Dragons, 10 Tier 4 Crystal Dragons. Legion of Sisters of Light. Commander. Ivana, the Great Priest of Light Level 6. Members. 75th Order Light Nuns, 83rd Level Light Nuns. Medusa Snake Man Legion. Commander. Medusa Queen Alphalia Level 4. Members. 310 2nd Order Medusa Snake People. Harpy. Commander. Fina the Harpy Queen Level 6. Members. 470 Tier 1 Harpies. Centaur Warrior. Commander. Centaur Hero Angelina Level 7. Members. 470 Tier 1 Centaur Warriors. Spear Goblin. Commander. Goblin Hero Antonia Tier 2. Members. 1270 Tier 1 Spear Goblins. Barbarian Archers. Commander. King Philip of the Barbarians Tier 2. Members. 1270 Tier 1 Barbarian Archers. It turns out that there are already 7 types of arms and 8 legions in the Supreme Palace, and the number of arms is as many as 2 to 3,000. If it is exposed, I am afraid that no lord will dare to believe it. Su-han looked at the densely packed various types of troops below, with a look of satisfaction on his face. A tenfold increase is simply the best explosive weapon, even the number of giant dragons is 132, not to mention those elite arms, directly thousands. If this continues, every day that passes, the strength of the Supreme Hall will double, knowing that it will push across the endless dimensions of the multiverse. Su-han looked at the senior executives around him and made arrangements. Walnut, Catherine, Alphalia, you lead the Dragon Army and the Medusa Snake Army to wipe out those scattered monsters in the territory. It is best to divide your operations to improve efficiency. Ivana, you lead the Legion of Sisters of Light to assist them. Angelila, nah, you guys also go to clear the wild monsters in the territory. As for Antonia and Philip, your mission is to guard the Supreme Hall, and arrange for harpies, centaur warriors, barbarian archers, and goblin spearmen to patrol and collect resources in the territory. Obey, my lord. Hu Dao, Catherine, Ivana and others all responded respectfully. Afterwards, all the arms of the Supreme Hall took action to perform their respective tasks, hunting wild monsters, patrolling territories, collecting resources, and guarding towns. After all the troops left the square, Su-han came to the other side of the central square. There are dozens of dwellings here, as well as 4 resource buildings, lumberyard, quarry, ironworks and mill. Naturally, Su-han came here to upgrade all 4 resource buildings. Due to limited resources, Su-han only upgraded 4 resource buildings to the 3rd level, and the rest had to be upgraded to the High Hall. But now it is different, the resources in the territory are extremely sufficient, and it is time to upgrade these 4 resource buildings. The upgrade conditions for the logging camp have been met. Do you want to upgrade immediately? Upgrade. Consume 50,000 units of wood, 20,000 units of stone, 5,000 units of iron ore, 1,000 units of refined iron. The upgrade is successful. Su-han looked at the successfully upgraded level 4 logging camp and opened the information panel. Sawmill. Type. Resource building. Level 4. Effect. Wood plus 100,000 units per day. Upgrade conditions. 100,000 units of wood, 50,000 units of stone, 20,000 units of iron ore, 10,000 units of refined iron. Remarks. Increasing the level of the lumberyard can increase the timber output of the territory. Su-han looked at this information panel and temporarily gave up the idea of upgrading it to level 5. Although it doesn't take much resources to upgrade one resource building in the lumberyard from level 3 to level 5, it will be a lot if you upgrade 4 resource buildings. Su-han also wanted to upgrade the Supreme Hall to a higher level in one go, so that resources would not be wasted easily. 873. Later, Su-han consumed a lot of resources and upgraded the quarry, ironworks and mill to level 4. But the upgrade to level 4 is over for now. Su-han doesn't have much spare resources to upgrade them all. Quarry. Type. Resource building. Level 4. Effect. Stone plus 5,000 units per day. Upgrade conditions. 70,000 units of wood, 70,000 units of stone, 20,000 units of iron ore, 10,000 units of refined iron. Remarks. Upgrading the quarry level can increase the stone output of the territory. Ironworks. Type. Resource building. Level 4. Effect 1. Iron ore plus 3,000 units. Effect 2. Refined iron plus 1,000 units. Upgrade conditions. 50,000 units of wood, 50,000 units of stone, 60,000 units of iron ore, 20,000 units of refined iron. Remarks. Upgrading the level of the iron smelting plant can increase the output of iron ore and refined iron in the territory. Mill. Type. Resource building. Level 4. Effect 1. Grain plus 1,000 units per day. Effect 2. The maturity period of food crops in the territory is shortened to 20 days. Upgrade conditions. 50,000 units of wood, 50,000 units of stone, 50,000 units of iron ore, 30,000 units of refined iron. Remarks. Upgrading the mill level can increase the grain output of the territory. After completing the 4 resource buildings, Su-han breathed a sigh of relief. Then he opened the territory resource output panel to check. Timber. 140,000 plus 170,000 equals 310,000. Stone. 50,000 plus 110,000 equals 160,000. Iron ore. 30,000 plus 70,000 equals 100,000. Refined iron. 10,000 plus 0 equals 10,000. Food. 10,000 plus 190,000 equals 200,000. Mithril. 0. Remarks. The output will be settled at 7 a.m. the next day. Yes, the output is already so high. It seems that upgrading resource buildings and allocating more garbage units to collect resources is the right approach. Su-han saw the various data of the resource output of the territory, and his face showed joy. Unknowingly, the daily resource output of the Supreme Palace is so high. It's not quite self-sufficient yet, but it's not far off. Now the territory can produce 310,000 units of wood, 160,000 units of stone, 10 units of iron ore, 10,000 units of refined iron and 200,000 units of food every day. If the output of this resource is revealed, the jaws of countless lords will surely fall to the ground. Even those mythical lords worked hard for a day, and the resources they obtained were less than 1/10 of the resources produced by Su-han's territory. It only takes 2 days to accumulate millions of resources in the Supreme Palace, and there are even 8 million resources in 10 days. What a horror! Afterwards, Su-han came to the territory warehouse, ready to sort out the resources. It is about to upgrade to the Supreme Hall, so we must pay close attention to resources. In the past 2 days, we have spent a lot of money to upgrade other arms and build buildings. Last night, Su-han sold a lot of meat and weapons, and Su-han obtained nearly 2 million various resources. Although he consumed a lot, the total resources of the territory are still increasing. Territory resource reserves. Timber. 2.59 million units. Stone. 1.34 million units. Iron ore. 620,000 units. Refined iron. 170,000 units. Mithril. 630 units. Magic stone. 3,450 pieces. Magic crystal. 503 pieces. Material. 0. Food. 0. Weaponry. 0. Drawings. 16. 4 unidentified, 12 identified. Unit buildings. 3. Venom lizard, horned devil, vampire bat. 2.59 million units of wood, 1.34 million units of stone, 620,000 units of iron ore, and 170,000 units of refined iron are more than enough to upgrade the Supreme Palace to a second-tier city. Are there already 16 blueprints? But don't worry, wait until the last day of the novice protection period to build the required blueprints, and sell the rest when the time comes. After counting the resources in the warehouse, Su-han came to the city lord's mansion in a good mood. After a while, he received a series of kill prompts, each time several or a dozen, at most dozens. Unlike the wild monster lairs that were cleared up in the territory before, this time it was to clean up those scattered monsters. On the one hand, it is to allow the arms to collect resources safely, and on the other hand, it is to eliminate potential safety hazards. The last thing is to upgrade to the highest palace. If the monsters within the territory have not been cleaned up, how will the Supreme Hall expand? If there are monsters everywhere outside, there is no way to expand. After all, the Supreme Palace is a promoted city, and it will expand a lot by then, which is far from what the manor and castle could compare with before. Hint: kill the 5th order long-horned demon, magic power plus 3/8, magic cloth plus 1. Hint: kill the 7th order earth dragon, magic power plus 9/8, magic stone plus 1, magic crystal plus 1. Hint: kill the 8th order double-headed wolf, magic power plus 155, magic stone plus 1, magic crystal plus 1. Sitting in the city lord's mansion, overlooking the entire territory, Su-han's information panel also popped up some kill tips from time to time. The magic power in his body increased rapidly, and his strength increased rapidly. It seems that the 2 giant dragon legions, the light nun legion, and the Medusa snake man legion are all hunting separately. I don't know whether they came according to the legion, or they were broken up and divided into small groups to hunt. Su-han looked at some kill prompts, and he thought it was the latter. It is estimated that Hu Dao, Catherine, Ivana and other women mixed the 4 legions into small teams, and then hunted everywhere. In this way, the hunting efficiency will be greatly increased, which is 10 times or even 100 times higher than that of 4 legions acting together. Once it comes, those hunting teams may also be in danger. Su-han didn't know if there were any 9th tier Lord level powerhouses, or even sanctuary powerhouses, within the territory. Time passed, and 2 or 3 hours passed in a blink of an eye. The battle in the territory continues, and Su-han opens the friend list. Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian finally sent messages. Qin Zhaoshui. Master Su-han, I have temporarily refined 800 units of mithril, and it has been put on the store shelves. Su-han, buy it as soon as possible. Vivian. Su-han big brother, the dwarf uncles have worked hard today. They dug up a lot of silver mines, and all of them were refined into mithril, a total of 1070 units. Quote. I put them all in the store. Su-han big brother remember to get them, hee hee. Su-han looked at it, with a smile on his face. The long-awaited mithril finally came out. He replied to Yuji Qin Zhaoshui and Luoli Vivian, asking them to continue digging silver mines to refine mithril. Finally, Su-han also made a promise that if the 2 women each provide him with 10,000 units of mithril, then Su-han will give each of them a high-level unit and write off all the resources owed before. This made Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian overjoyed, and immediately agreed, promising to provide Su-han with mithril resources with all their strength. After receiving such an answer, Su-han's mood also relaxed. He also has 2 high-level units in his hand, namely the venomous lizard and the horned devil. Su-han is useless at all. It's better to give it to Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian. Of course, the premise is to provide him with 10,000 units of mithril each. Wang Wang's in this way, it can not only strengthen the strength of the 2 women, but also allow their territories to develop and grow rapidly, and continuously provide him with mithril resources, as well as more precious resources that may be needed in the future. He can also get a lot of resources himself. If he has 20,000 units of mithril, Su-han feels that he can raise the Supreme Hall to the main city in one go. The Supreme Palace is now a 3rd-tier town, followed by a 1st-tier city, a 2nd-tier city, a 3rd-tier city, and then a 1st-tier main city. In the dark, Su-han feels that upgrading the territory to the main city will definitely bring great benefits. No matter what, we still have to work hard and try our best to upgrade the Supreme Hall to the main city or even the capital city before the novice protection period ends. Presumably at that time, the Supreme Hall had a little bit of self-protection power in the Eternal Continent. After closing the friend list, Su-han looked at the sky, sighed, and then walked towards the 1st floor of the City Lord's mansion. The 1st floor of the City Lord's mansion. Su-han stood in front of the core crystal of the territory. After upgrading to a 3rd-level town, the core crystal has turned orange, emitting a faint orange light. Finally you can upgrade to the High Palace. Su-han let out a breath, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The mithril resource has troubled him for a long time, and now there is finally enough mithril in the territory, and there are 2,500 units of mithril. The territory upgrade conditions have been met. Do you want to upgrade immediately? Upgrade immediately, Su-han said quickly without any hesitation. In an instant, the core crystal burst into orange light, covering the entire territory in an instant. Under this orange light, the scope of the territory expanded a lot again, and the Supreme Palace also expanded accordingly, and there were many more buildings. Consume 500,000 units of wood, 250,000 units of stone, 50,000 units of iron ore, 20,000 units of refined iron, and 1,000 units of mithril. The upgrade is successful. Your Supreme Palace has been upgraded to a Tier 1 city. The scope of your territory has expanded to a radius of 100 kilometers. Your core crystal defense value has been increased to 100,000. The reputation and influence of your territory, the Supreme Hall, in the Forest of Fear has increased by 807 degrees. Please note that all forces in the Forest of Fear are paying attention to your territory at any time. Launch an attack. When the orange light dissipated, the core crystal in front of Su-han also changed from orange to yellow, and at the same time received a series of information prompts. Great, finally promoted to a Tier 1 city. The Lord who owns a city is truly qualified to fight for the hegemony of 10,000 races, and has the opportunity to enter the battlefield of 10,000 races for hegemony. Tisk tisk, the scope of the territory has expanded to a radius of 100 kilometers. How many foreign races and foreign forces will be included at once? Now Walnut and Catherine are quite busy. But has the Supreme Hall been known by all the forces in the Forest of Fear? It seems that the Forest of Fear is not as big as I thought. It's estimated to be only a few hundred kilometers in radius, and it doesn't seem too small. After all, I'm only on an island, and it's not just a place like the Forest of Fear. After reading the prompts, Su-han was filled with thoughts, and there was boundless fighting spirit in his brows. Today's Supreme Hall is barely qualified to be counted as one of the powers, and can enter the vision of all races, nations, and the Church of all gods in the eternal continent. Breathing out a foul breath, Su-han withdrew his thoughts and opened the information panel of the Supreme Hall. Supreme Palace. Territory level. Tier 1 city. Territory range. 100 kilometers in radius. Ordinary buildings. City Lord's Mansion, warehouses, residential buildings, lumber mills, quarries, ironworks, mills, training grounds, barracks. Soldier buildings. Ancestral Dragon Nest, Mythical Unique Temple of Glory, Ace Cave of Medusa, Top Human Stables, Advanced Banshee House, Advanced Barbarian Hut, Elite Goblin Hut, Elite. Territory features. Invincible, 5 days, 21 hours, 23 minutes. Next level. Secondary city. Upgrade conditions. 1 million units of wood, 500,000 units of stone, 200,000 units of iron ore, 100,000 units of refined iron, and 2,000 units of mithril. Affiliation. None. Is there 2 more buildings, the training ground and the barracks, in the city that has been upgraded to the first level of the Supreme Palace? I don't know what it does. It's less than 6 days before the novice protection period ends. It seems that we must hurry up. As expected, the upgrade from a first-tier city to a second-tier city is similar to what I guessed, and the resources in the territory are completely sufficient now. It's a pity that mithril is still short of 1,500 units, otherwise it can be directly promoted to a second-tier city. But it's okay. Around noon, Qin Zhaoshui and Vivian will be able to provide me with so much mithril, and I will be promoted to a second-tier city at that time. Su-han also knows that there are basically no obstacles on the road to the promotion of the Supreme Hall to the second-tier city. But if you want to be promoted to a third-tier city, don't even think about it in a short time. It's impossible today, and it may not even be possible tomorrow BCBE. Although there are still a lot of resources now, after being promoted to a second-tier city, it will be consumed, not much. Now the number of warehouse resources is as follows. Timber. 2.09 million units. Stone. 1.11 million units. Iron ore. 570,000 units. Refined iron. 150,000 units. Mithril. 1,500 units. Magic stone. 3,450 pieces. Magic crystal. 503 pieces. After walking out of the City Lord's mansion, Su-han began to observe the situation of the entire territory. Compared with before, the City Lord's mansion has an 8th floor, and the steps to the central square have become 54 steps. The central square has expanded several times again, and there are more than 30 buildings around it, obviously, because they are all residential buildings. Only 6 buildings stand out. These are the 2 parade grounds and the 4 barracks. From his point of view, there are nearly 100 buildings of various types in the Supreme Palace, and they still look decent. Although the Supreme Palace has been upgraded to a first-tier city, it still has no city walls, only a moat. With the upgrading of the territory, the moat has also evolved, and now it has become a river with a width of 20 meters and a depth of 8 meters. The water inside is turbulent, and there are countless aquatic creatures, which adds a new food item to the territory. Such a big river can catch a lot of fish and shrimp every day. Su-han opened the power map and found that the area of the Supreme Palace has changed from a radius of 15 kilometers to a radius of 30 kilometers. The scope of the territory is a total of 100 kilometers. The 30 kilometers in the middle is the first-level city of the Supreme Palace, and the surrounding 10 kilometers are mostly wild monsters, compared to the outside. This 40 kilometers is the range of the previous territory, and all the alien forces inside have been cleared away, leaving only some scattered monsters, but they are also being wiped out one after another. But 40 kilometers away, within 100 kilometers, there are dense red dots everywhere, indicating that there are a large number of wild monsters and many alien forces. Su-han simply took a look, and found that within the current territory, there is an alien force with a number of tens of thousands, and 3 alien forces with a number of more than 5,000. More than 3,000 foreign races gathered more forces, a total of 8. There were more than a dozen others with a number of 1 or 2,000, and there were countless small nests with a number of several hundred. Hiss. Su-han took a breath, surprised by the number of foreign races. The scope of the territory has expanded so much that there are at least 100,000 more monsters in Warcraft, among which there are definitely sanctuary level and even legendary level powerhouses. Finally, Su-han looked at the troops in the territory, and found that they were divided into many small groups to hunt. However, at this time, several teams were actually gathering, and they seemed to have encountered a big guy, which was an obvious red dot. Su-han came to the 8th floor of the city lord's mansion and looked into the distance to see where a battle was taking place. Faintly, he could see a very tall monster fighting the dragon team. That seems to be a giant. Fear the depths of the forest. Tens of thousands of beasts galloped, the trees were dense, and earth-shattering roars came out. A big battle breaks out. In the center of the battlefield, there is a huge monster 50 to 60 meters high, with one eye, muscular body, wearing armor, and sweeping around with a thick mace in its hand. It's a cyclops. It has an extraordinary blood, and now it has just entered the prime of life, and has stepped into the peak of the sanctuary, because it is afraid of a room in the forest. If he goes one step further and reaches the legendary realm, his body size can grow by more than 20 meters, and his strength will become several times, even 10 times stronger. But at this moment, such a powerful cyclops encountered a powerful siege, unable to leave the battlefield at all. He roared loudly from time to time, swung the mace in his hand to sweep across, and even pulled out a giant tree with one hand as a stick to hit, but he was still unable to do anything to besiege his creatures. It was the soldiers of the Supreme Palace who were besieging him, a hunting team separated by Hu Dao and Catherine. It consists of 2 7th-rank black dragons, 3 7th-rank white dragons, 1 7th-rank blue dragon, 2 4th-rank black dragons, 1 silver dragon, 1 emerald dragon, and 1 crystal dragon. In addition, there are 7 5th-level nuns of light, 8 3rd-level nuns of light, and 31 2nd-level Medusa snake people. It is said that it is a hunting team, but it can actually form a mixed team, with a total of 57 members. There are 10 such hunting teams in total, and Walnut, Catherine, Angelina, Fina, Ivana, and Alphalia will join one of them respectively. After 3 hours of clearing, the scattered monsters in the territory were basically wiped out, leaving only a few wild monsters. The strength of this hunting team has also increased a lot, becoming 6 7th-level dragons and 5 5th-level dragons, 7 6th-level light nuns, 8 4th-level light nuns, and 31 4th-level Medusa snakemen. The strength has increased several times compared to the beginning. In the territory, it can be said that gods block and kill gods, Buddhas block and kill Buddhas, and they are invincible. As a result, he encountered such a cyclops at the peak of the sanctuary, whose strength was almost as strong as the legendary powerhouse. Naturally, the hunting team would not let him go, and immediately launched a siege, intending to capture and kill the cyclops. However, the hesitant hunting team is not strong enough to kill it, it can only cause some damage. But the cyclops couldn't help the besieging hunting team. They were extremely distressed and wanted to get away a long time ago, but they were tightly entangled. 6 giant dragons comparable to Tier 9 are fighting fiercely with the cyclops at the front, and 5 giant dragons comparable to the top Tier 7 are attacking on the 2nd floor. 31 4th-level Medusa snakemen are on the 3rd floor to assist, while 15 nuns of light are on the outermost side to replenish the status of the dragons and snakemen inside, repair injuries, restore vitality, etc. If you look at it from a high altitude, you can see a strange picture. The entire battlefield is actually circular. The Cyclops is in the center, and then the 7th Order Self-Dragon, the 5th Order Eye Dragon, the 4th Order Medusa Snake Man, and the Nun of Light surround the Cyclops in circles. The two sides have been fighting fiercely for several minutes, and no one can do anything to the other. It can be said that it is evenly matched. Although the hunting team does not have sanctuary powerhouses, it has 6 giant dragons comparable to rank 9, and 15 nuns of light to support them, as well as other giant dragons and snakemen. The overall strength is no worse than that of Cyclops. The towering trees for several kilometers in the vicinity were all leveled, all broken and broken. The wild monsters in the surrounding 10 kilometers fled towards the distance one after another, not daring to get involved, for fear of being affected. You dragons should be eaten. When I kill you and eat them all, I'm sure I can be promoted to the legendary realm. The mace in the Cyclops' hand slammed at a 7th order black dragon, as if it was smashing Washin. Bang! The black dragon breathed out its breath, but it couldn't destroy the mace, it was only slightly burnt, but the mace hit it. This 7th order black dragon with a body length of nearly 20 meters hit the ground heavily, creating a big hole in the ground, and sand and stones flew around. It can be seen how terrifying the power of the Cyclops is. Evil Cyclops, dare to invade the territory of the Supreme Palace, you will die today. At the same time, the other giant dragons released their dragon power to suppress them one after another, breathed out their dragon breath, and swung their huge wings to kill the Cyclops. Their sharp claws were about to grab a piece of flesh from the Cyclops. Roar! The huge vertical eye of the Cyclops looked at these attacking dragons indifferently, roared in a low voice, waved a mace to resist, suddenly burst into a fierce light, and shot at the dragons one after another. All the giant dragons that were shot by this light will have blood holes appear on the dragon body, and the blood flow will not stop. This caught the 7th tier giant dragons in the front by surprise, and the 5 5th tier giant dragons in the back immediately restrained them and cast dragon language magic one by one, but the effect was not great. Die! A sneer appeared on the face of the Cyclops, his mouth suddenly grew, and magic balls with a diameter of 2 meters flew towards the giant dragons, containing astonishing energy. At the same time, he stepped forward to charge, swung the mace in his hand high, and went on a rampage. But he hadn't been complacent for long, when streaks of petrified light came from behind and landed on the Cyclops' body, immediately slowing down his movements. It was the Medusa Snake Man behind who launched the attack. They are only tier 4, and their strength is not strong. If they attack from the front, a large number of Cyclops maces will die. 0. But it's different in the back, Cyclops can't attack them at all. Although the attacks of these Medusa snake people can't hurt the Cyclops, but their petrification talent can slow the Cyclops. More than 30 Medusa snakes were released together, and even the Cyclops in the sanctuary slowed down by 10 times. At this time, streaks of holy light fell on the giant dragons, instantly healing their injuries. Death! The recovered dragons attacked again, causing damage to the Cyclops one after another. Ah! The Cyclops roared furiously, and looked at the Medusa Snake Man and the Sister of Light with cold eyes, wishing to smash them to death with a stick. It's a pity that he couldn't even get out of the encirclement of the dragon. It's useless for you to besiege me like this. If you can't kill me, I will withdraw from your territory, how about it? The Cyclops' eyeballs moved wildly, as if he really wanted to make peace. Don't think about it. A lowly giant dares to be rampant. The two voices sounded almost simultaneously, causing the Cyclops' face to change in shock. On the left and right sides, the huge bodies of Hudao and Catherine crossed the sky, came at a very high speed, and arrived at the battlefield in a few seconds. And behind them, there is also a hunting team, the strength of which is equivalent to the team that besieged the Cyclops. Dragon language magic. Nirvana. Dragon language magic. Broken star. All of a sudden, a ray of Nirvana came from the left, struck across the sky, shattered the stars, and with boundless power, even the air was bursting, as if it was about to be burned. At this moment, the giant dragon, the Medusa Snake Man, and the Nun of Light who were besieging the Cyclops immediately retreated, giving way to the battlefield. Roar! The Cyclops roared angrily, his tone trembling a little. He was locked by the light of Nirvana, and there was no way to escape. The threat of the light of Nirvana is too great, piercing the sky and the earth, as if it can shatter the endless star universe, piercing the sky and the earth, making the Cyclops feel like a light is on his back. Not only that, but the Cyclops was also locked by another terrifying dragon language magic. That was cast by the Red Dragon Queen Catherine. The 8th level White Dragon Queen has a combat power comparable to a legendary powerhouse, and what she releases is dragon language magic. How terrifying is its power? You must know that the giant dragon itself is a terrifying and boundless creature, and 487 alone can be invincible with its body. And the giant dragon was also the first batch of creatures to use dragon language magic. Every dragon language magic is equivalent to a forbidden magic spell, with infinite power. Nirvana, performed by White Dragon Queen Hutao, even a legendary mage would tremble when seeing it. But the dragon language magic Broken Star cast by the Red Dragon Queen Catherine is even comparable. You must know that the Red Dragon Queen is only at the 7th level. On the right side of the Cyclops, the terrifying star-breaking magic was cast. A huge star suddenly appeared in the sky and the earth, and a giant dragon was faintly coiled around it. In the next moment, the huge star shattered, carrying the boundless power of the broken star and bombarding towards the Cyclops. The sky and the earth are cracking, the air is screaming, and the dazzling starlight fills the sky and the earth, filling the universe. Too horrible! What an earth-shattering power! The giant dragon, the snake man, and the nun of light who were pushed to the periphery were all shocked at this moment. The power of these two dragon language magics is simply terrifying. Can the Cyclops stop it? A look of despair flashed through the one-eyed giant's vertical eyes. Even if he wanted to escape, he couldn't escape. He was locked by two dragon language magics comparable to the power of the legendary forbidden spell, and he was dead. Ah, I cannot be reconciled. I haven't regained everything I lost. How can I die here? The Cyclops yelled violently. His vertical eyes were bloodshot. His aura suddenly soared, and his body grew higher and higher. 50 meters, 60 meters, 70 meters. The body of the Cyclops soared to 75 meters in the end. The tall and mighty body exuded boundless mighty power, and the billowing legendary coercion frightened the wilderness. At this moment, under the oppression of life and death, the Cyclops was suddenly promoted to the legendary status. You must know that the Cyclops is an extraordinary life at the level of the Ace unit. He has grown to the peak of the sanctuary, and he can become the king of heroes at the limit. Innate magic, shattered. At the moment when he was promoted to legend, Cyclops did not forget that there were still two terrifying spells coming, and immediately cast the innate magic that he had just realized. In his 1-meter-long vertical eyes, bursts of shattered light suddenly burst out, 10 times, 100 times more terrifying than the light emitted before. This kind of shattered light is extremely terrifying. With the artistic conception of shattering everything in the world, even legendary knights, legendary ascetics and other very flesh-resistant powerhouses will be pierced through, even directly. Rumbling. When the terrifying magic collided, an earth-shattering shock occurred, shaking most of the fear forest and stirring up the boundless situation. The wild monsters and monsters around frantically fled further away. When the magic light dissipated and the world became clear, it seemed that everything just now was an illusion. But the ground on the battlefield was shattered, and a huge pit more than 20 meters deep and more than 10 meters wide appeared, and the giant trees within a radius of 500 meters were all broken and destroyed. All in all, it's not an illusion. At this moment, in the deep pit, stood a huge giant. Even though the huge pit was more than 20 meters deep, it had just reached the position of his thigh, and the Cyclops still had a taller body on the ground. But the current Cyclops is miserable, his armor is tattered, his body is covered in pieces of flesh, he is bleeding profusely, and even one of his hands is broken. The broken hand fell to the ground, still holding the mace, but the mace was also broken in two. Although the Cyclops withstood the two dragon language magics of Nirvana and Broken Star, they also paid a huge price. Originally, he forcibly broke through to the legendary realm, but after being beaten like this, his realm immediately became unstable, and he was about to fall back to the sanctuary. Ho 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 ho! The Cyclops roared wildly, it was howling in pain. He is in so much pain. Even so, Cyclops knew that this was not a place to stay for a long time, and he was about to run away with his legs open. But where will Walnut and Catherine give him a chance? Huge white dragons and red dragons came from both sides, directly knocking the Cyclops to the ground. A big hole appeared in the body, and the other arm was broken. Boom! Earthquake! HMPH! It's just a legendary giant who barely broke through. If you can grow to a full body and enter the hero realm, we really can't do anything to you. Now, go! White Dragon Queen Hutao snorted coldly, looking at the Cyclops lying on the ground and howling in pain. Her expression was cold. Catherine, the Red Dragon Queen, curled her lips and looked at Walnut, who was about to make a move, but she didn't make another move. Don't think about it. I pursue the truth, but I have not yet become a god, so I will die here. Ha ha ha, let's die together. The Cyclops lying on the ground was furious, drinking wildly, and finally went crazy and wanted to explode himself. Dragon language magic. Dragon God's Fury Sword. White Dragon Queen Walnut spat out a few words, constructing dragon language magic. In the next moment, a six-pointed star array was formed instantly, and the dragon runes flowed, faintly connecting to an extremely huge and boundless plane. In that plane, a dragon with a body length of several thousand meters opened its mouth, and a breath of the dragon pierced through time and space, and came to the eternal continent. During this process, the dragon breath of the dragon god turned into a gigantic sword, tens of meters long, descending from the sky with unparalleled power. Boom! The dragon god's wrath sword pierced into the Cyclops' body, interrupting his self-explosion, causing his body to be torn apart, shattered, and blood splashed on the ground. Legendary Cyclops. Dead. In the highest hall. Su 3.6 Han, who was watching from a distance in the City Lord's mansion, suddenly received a reminder. Hint. Kill the legendary Cyclops. Magic power plus 3000, magic stone plus 400, magic crystal plus 2, blueprint plus 1, legendary equipment plus 1. I rely on it. Seeing this hint, Su Han opened his mouth wide in shock. Walnut, Catherine and the others actually hunted down a legendary giant, it's unbelievable. In the past, hunting monsters, even the 9th level Lord level, only produced 1 magic stone and 1 magic crystal, but this legendary giant unexpectedly produced 400 magic stones and 2 magic stones. And it directly increased my magic power by 3000, which made my level advance a lot. Not only that, but also a blueprint and a piece of legendary equipment. This is the first time that equipment has been revealed. On the battlefield, Hu Dao killed the legendary Cyclops with 1 stroke of the Dragon God's Fury Sword, and then let the hunting team clean up the battlefield. Keep hunting. Afterwards, Hu Dao looked at the Red Dragon Queen Catherine and said, "Be sure to complete the scheduled tasks before noon." Catherine nodded, glanced at Hu Dao, and left with her hunting team. Looking at Catherine's huge and mighty dragon body, a sense of urgency flashed in Hu Dao's heart, and then left with her hunting team. There is only the last hunting team left on the spot, cleaning the battlefield, and then they will start a new hunt. At this moment, the battlefield spread for several miles, and there were potholes and rocks everywhere. All the giant trees had been destroyed by the war long ago. And on the other side, Ivana, the great priest of light, is also leading a hunting team, killing wild monsters one by one. Boom! The last 9th level Lord level monster fell to the ground, its head was split and rolled aside. A ray of holy light descended from the sky and landed on those giant dragons, allowing them to quickly recover from their injuries and live alive again. This time I hunted and killed 3 9th level mountain cracking giant apes, and the harvest is pretty good. Ivana looked at the mountain cracking giant ape with a body length of more than 30 meters on the ground, and a smile appeared on her beautiful face. Less than a kilometer away from this battlefield, there are dense trees and towering giant trees. A few humans squatted on the giant trees, looking at the scene here with impressive faces. That's a dragon. My god, why are there so many dragons? We must not provoke more than a dozen giant dragons, otherwise we will die without a place to bury them. Is that the snake man in the middle? Why is it with the dragon? What are the last ones? Are they also human beings? Why are they all so beautiful? The 2 humans looked at the hunting team in the distance, their faces were full of horror, puzzlement, shock, doubt and so on. Finally, with their last strength, they jumped off the giant tree and headed for the distance. When they were leaving, Ivana, the great priest of light, suddenly looked this way, as if she felt something. Go and see what's over there. Under Ivana's command, a 7th order black dragon headed towards the place where the 2 humans had stayed before, and soon returned to report. My lord, where are the sense of human beings? They just left, do you want to track them down? Human. Ivana's eyes lit up, and she immediately said, track them and see where they went, and don't act rashly. Obey. The black dragon, more than 10 meters long, flapped its huge dragon wings, and followed the breath left by those few humans, and followed it away. The 2 humans fled in a hurry, heading towards a castle 2 kilometers away. After fleeing thousands of meters, the 2 humans breathed a sigh of relief. They looked back and found no pursuers. They looked at each other and set off again to return to the castle to tell the Lord the news. Not long after, the two humans returned to the castle and saw the owner of the castle, a young man with an air of arrogance between his eyebrows. "My lord." The two humans knelt down on one knee, and then told what they had just seen and heard. "Dragon, snake man, and a beautiful human woman who exudes light." The young man was completely shocked when he heard the words, and sat up suddenly from the chair, with a look of disbelief on his face. Then he sat back and thought about it, not knowing what he was thinking. Finally, the young man looked at the two human arms in front of him with glowing eyes, and asked in a deep voice, "Are you sure there are 11 giant dragons, and all of them are 5th tier?" The young man stared at these human arms, for fear that they would say nothing. "Yes, my lord, we watched from afar and found that their aura is strong, definitely at the 5th level, and the black dragons, white dragons, and blue dragons that besieged the giant ape at the innermost level even had 6th and 7th levels. Okay, let's go down, continue to go hunting, and inquire about news." The young man waved his hand and let these human arms leave, leaving him alone to meditate. 5 5th level emerald dragons, crystal dragons, and silver dragons, and 6 at least 6th level and 7th level black dragons, white dragons, and blue dragons. Those snake people are easy to deal with, there are only more than 30 people, and they are only at the 4th level. But what are those bright beauties at the end? They are at least tier 4. Is this the strongest local force nearby? Otherwise, how could it be so powerful? Such a small team can even hunt down the mountain-cracking giant apes of the 9th level Lord level, and there are a total of 3. It would be great if it was my unit. The young man kept pacing in the center of the castle, his heart was burning, but he felt very troublesome. He didn't think it was a unit under Lord Bluestar's command. After all, everyone only had one unit, so there are now 3. Besides, the giant dragon is a mythical weapon. Even if a lord obtains it, one can be conceived in a day. Now on the 4th day, there are only 4 or 5 at most. It is impossible to have more than a dozen giant dragons, let alone more than 30 snake people and more than a dozen beautiful humans with bright information. The young man's heart was moved as soon as he heard the news. If he could subdue these giant dragons, his strength would skyrocket. No matter how bad it is to kill these giant dragons, snake men, and bright human women, a large number of magic stones and crystals will definitely explode, and even the blueprints of the corresponding units will appear. The giant dragon unit, this is a mythical unit, it would be great if I could get it. Quote, "It's a pity that this mixed hunting team is too strong, not to mention that there is a strong local force behind it. My troop is the Ace Troop, Holy Swordsman, and I have only recruited 12 so far, and the strongest one is only at the 5th level, and it is still a little short of the 6th level. It's still possible to kill a giant dragon, but with so many dragons, it's completely impossible. Looks like we have to figure out a way." The young man was thinking hard about the countermeasures, how to capture and kill these giant dragons. At this moment, above the sky, a huge black dragon flew past, causing the Holy Swordsman in the territory to cry out in surprise. After the 7th level black dragon found the target, it returned immediately and told Ivana the information. Ivana's eyes flashed, she didn't say much, but led the team to continue hunting. Time flies. When it was almost noon, the teams that had gone hunting finally came back. The 2 dragon legions, the Medusa Snake Man Legion and the Light Nun Legion returned to the Supreme Hall with a lot of spoils. Walnut, Catherine, Ivana, etc. put down their things, and immediately came to see Suhan and told them about the situation. Suhan looked at the monster corpses and various trophies piled up in the square, and there was joy in his eyes. On the central square of the city, the corpses of various monsters are piled up here, such as giant wolves, magic snakes, grizzly bears, white foxes, venomous lizards, and centaurs. There are even 8th and 9th tier lord level monsters as strong as the earth-splitting giant ape, mountain-flying wolf, and forest python. And the cyclops who barely broke through to legend. Although the number is not as high as that of last night, it is still quite a lot. There are a total of 5,400 monster corpses, and the quality is relatively much higher. Suhan was about to collect and disassemble when his expression suddenly changed. Not only him, Catherine, Hutao, Ivana and others also changed their expressions, and they all looked into the distance. Where there is a dragon chant, it is accompanied by a huge body, coming across the sky, it is actually a giant dragon. But this giant dragon has no flesh and skin, only bones, and 2 groups of undead white flames in the eye sockets. A 100-meter-long bone dragon, this is a hero-level bone dragon. Walnut and Catherine exclaimed almost at the same time. Su-han frowned upon hearing this. Is the heroic bone dragon going to attack his supreme hall? Although he had guessed that there were hero-level monsters in the Fear Forest before, he didn't expect it to come so quickly, and it was a bone dragon. The bone dragon was originally a kind of giant dragon, which was refined from a complete dragon corpse, but its strength was much weaker than that of the giant dragon. Even the white dragon was much stronger than the bone dragon. Therefore, the bone dragon is called the shame of the dragon clan. So he was expelled from the dragon clan by 540, and he was no longer counted as a giant dragon, but an undead clan. Even so, compared to other races, the bone dragon is very powerful, and it is the top among the ace arms. As an ace unit, the strength of the bone dragon is 1 level higher than that of the same level, which means that this bone dragon is equivalent to the ordinary hero king of other races. A bone dragon with the fighting power of a hero king ran away and attacked. Su-han's expression did not change. Although there are many giant dragons in the territory, they have not yet grown up. Even the high-level giant dragons Walnut and Catherine, the strongest combat power is no more than a legend. Far from being the opponent of Bone Dragon. Although there are thousands of arms, if they fight, the Bone Dragon can easily kill most of them with a single dragon's breath. Fortunately, the novice protection period has not yet ended, let alone the Bone Dragon with the combat power of the Hero King. Even if the gods come, they can't break through. Looking at the Bone Dragon hovering above the Supreme Hall, Su-han's eyes showed a cold look. Hateful. White Dragon Queen Hudao looked at the Skull Dragon with anger in her eyes, but she did not lose her mind and ran out of the Supreme Hall. HMPH, even a Bone Dragon dares to show off its power. When I break through to the sanctuary, I will kill this Bone Dragon. The Red Dragon Queen Catherine also looked a little ugly. Catherine was naturally angry that a BCAB, Bone Dragon that was not even considered a giant dragon dared to show off its power in front of her, a high-level dragon. Everyone stay calm, this Skull Dragon can't get in. Su-han's voice resounded in the square, and the panicked goblins, barbarians, and centaurs fell silent. Su-han looked up and could see the Bone Dragon's icy gaze, enough to shatter the vacuum. If you dare to disturb the Forest of Fear, you will die in 5 days. The Bone Dragon hovered for a while, finally said a word, and then flew towards the castle of the undead in the middle of the forest. As our death in 5 days. Ha ha. Su-han's face was cold when he heard this. He stared at the Bone Dragon leaving, and said silently in his heart. When Catherine and Walnut grow up, it will be your death date. If he guessed correctly, this Skull Dragon is either the overlord and guardian of the Fear Forest, or it is carrying out some important tasks. And the rapid expansion of the High Hall affected it. After the Bone Dragon left, Su-han ordered Hudao, Catherine and others to let them go out hunting an hour later to avoid being targeted by the Bone Dragon. And asked Fina to send the Harpy to the entire Fear Forest to investigate the situation, looking for information on the Lord and other local forces. Then Su-han threw 11 large-scale collection techniques at the monster corpses on the square, collecting and decomposing all the monster corpses into food and materials. 70 or 80 seconds later, a large pile of meat and various materials were neatly placed on the square. This time, the scattered monsters in the territory were cleared, and a total of more than 130,000 units of food were brought to him, including 60,000 units of ordinary meat, 50,000 elite meat, 20,000 high-level meat, and 20,000 legendary meat. 500 units. In addition, there are 20,000 units of various materials. In terms of special resources, there are a total of 1376 magic stones and 98 magic crystals. In terms of blueprints, besides the one of Cyclops, there is only one other blueprint, 2 in total. To Su-han's slight displeasure, there were no units that exploded this time. I don't know if it has something to do with the undestroyed core crystal. Without destroying the core crystals of those alien forces, the overall income will be reduced by 10 cuts. What's more, the scattered wild monsters were exterminated this time. Not even a piece of equipment was exploded, and only some food was sold, so the harvest would not be too much. Afterwards, Su-han put all the more than 130,000 food obtained this time on the shelves of the Supreme Palace store on the trading plain. The price of other grade meat is the same as the same price. Legendary meat Suhan does not have a price, but adopts an auction format. Legendary Cyclops meat. Quantity: 500 units. Only refined iron or magic stones and magic crystals are collected. The base price for each unit of meat is 100 units of refined iron, or 20 magic stones, or 2 crystals. Time limit: 1 hour. Suhan didn't know what price should be set for the legendary meat, so he simply used it to auction to obtain rare materials such as magic stones and magic crystals. Although Suhan did not advertise on the World Channel, the news that he sold a large amount of meat, even legendary meat, shocked all the lords instantly. Suhan is a big deal, and it's more than 100,000 units of food. As expected of the number 1 lord, the strength is so strong that we are willing to bow down. Hiss, what did I see? There are more than 2,000 units of 9th level lord level meat among the meat sold in the Supreme Palace this time, it's too scary. Awesome. More than 2,000 units of 9th level meat, this must be at least 50 less 9th level lords. What's so surprising about this? The giant Suhan sold the 9th grade meat yesterday. Hehe, what is the 9th level meat? The giant Suhan brought out the most precious treasure for auction this time, which is the meat of the legendary Cyclops. Real or fake? Legendary Cyclops. Are you sure it's not sanctuary? Impossible. Now how can any lord be able to hunt and kill legendary powerhouses? Even the lord who hunted monsters in the sanctuary has never heard of it. I'm so obedient, I went to see it just now, and it turned out to be true. I can also prove that this is true. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I don't know what to say for a while. We are still working hard to fight low-level monsters, and the giant Suhan has reached the legendary level. I'm better than them, but I can just kill 4th-order monsters. Hey, people are better than people, so mad. Unexpectedly, none of the trump card lords, myth lords and other big bosses came out to speak. Don't think about it, those bigwigs have gone to raise supplies, or directly participate in the auction of legendary meat. Because the meat will not be sold out for a while, the legendary meat auction is another hour. Suhan simply closed the trading plane. Then he talked with Walnut, Catherine, Ivana, Angelina and others to learn some information they encountered during the hunt. You mean you found the castle of a human lord? Suhan looked at Ivana and asked. Yes, Lord Tianping. Ivana nodded, and replied, I found someone peeping, so I asked the black dragon to follow the trail to inquire, and finally found the castle. It's a large castle, and there are more than 10 human swordsmen inside. The arms look like human swordsmen. The number is more than 10, and it seems to be at least the top arms. Combined with his territory being a large castle, his arm is likely to be the ace arm. Suhan thought about it, thought for a while, and said, how far is that large castle from our territory? Within our territory, about 13 kilometers away from the High Palace. Ivana replied. My lord, why don't we go and destroy him? How dare you peep into the Supreme Hall? It's just courting death, Catherine said excitedly. Suhan rolled his eyes, ignored her, and thought silently. It seems that I am not the only lord in the Fear Forest, there are other lords scattered in various places in the Fear Forest. It seems that the distance is quite far, the lord was about 50 kilometers away from my territory at first. I don't know if it's all like this or just a coincidence. Although his troops saw the hunting team, they definitely thought it was a local force and would not guess my identity. If that's the case, that lord is likely to attract the attention of my dragon, Sister Bright. Suhan is very clear that the lord will definitely be tempted when he sees a mythical unit like a dragon. Whether it is to subdue or explode the blueprint of the unit, it is a great opportunity. However, Suhan didn't plan to attack him for the time being, although he said that it would be better to attack first, and the latter would suffer. But it doesn't make any sense to attack his territory now. With the novice protection barrier, the dragon army can't kill it. Everything has to wait until the novice protection period ends. Even if they attack now, it will at most cause the lord to lose some units, which is harmless. What's more, the lord has not done anything unfavorable to him, so Suhan shouldn't act rashly, otherwise this person will definitely slander him on the World Channel, and the loss outweighs the gain. But if this person strikes first, Suhan will have mastered righteousness, and then he won't have to worry about tricks. Don't worry about him for now. If he dares to attack the hunting team, he will be destroyed immediately, and his castle will be destroyed after a while. Su-han looked at Hu Dao, Catherine, Ivana and others, and said indifferently. By the way, when you go hunting in the afternoon, you can also check by the way to see if there are other lords in the territory. Su-han felt that since there was one lord in the territory, there were probably others. After all, his territory was within a radius of 100 kilometers. This is already a large area, with an area of 10,000 square kilometers, which is equivalent to the size of nearly 2 demon capitals. This is only a Tier 1 city. Of course, Su-han also knows that the Blue Galaxy Eternal Great Luyuan is far from comparable. The area here is too large, endless, probably the sum of the area of hundreds of millions of blue stars. Okay. 27. Walnut, Catherine, Ivana and others agreed one after another. Go, take a rest, and continue hunting in the afternoon. Obey, my lord. After Hu Dao, Catherine and others responded, they immediately took the legion to repair. Su-han looked at everyone's information and found that Ivana, the great priest of light, had been promoted to the 7th rank, Queen Medusa Alphalia had been promoted to the 6th rank, and the Harpy Queen Fina had been promoted to the 7th rank. The ranks of Catherine, Walnut, and Angelina remain unchanged, but they are much closer to the 8th and 9th ranks. After lunch, I really need to open the trading plane to check the food trading situation. Then I received news from Qin Zhaoshui and An Weiwei. Su-han took a look, and the two brought him a lot of mithril, totaling 3,300 units. Su-han bought it at the two people's shop in the trading plane, and then looked at his own shop, and found that the meat was sold out. But it was just sold out in less than 10 minutes, and it took nearly an hour to sell out. Su-han put the 20,000 units of materials harvested in the morning on the shelves, and traded them to Qin Zhaoshui and An Weiwei for 100,000 units respectively. Then he ordered the two of them to forge weapons and equipment while refining mithril. He told the two of them some experience in territorial development, and then closed the friend list. At this time, Su-han checked the resources obtained from selling food. Timber, 620,000 units. Stone, 340,000 units. Iron ore, 130,000 units. Refined iron, 80,000 units. Magic stone, 2,449 pieces. Magic crystal, 18. Not bad, and get a lot of resources. Quote. Su-han looked at the transaction list with a smile on his face. The harvest of timber, stone, and iron ore was within his expectations. But this time, he also obtained more refined iron, more than 2,000 magic stones, and 18 magic crystals, which was an unprecedented harvest. Of course, Su Dian also knew that it was brought by legendary meat. Su-han has identified before that the meat of the Cyclops has a great effect. Cyclops meat, legendary meat, containing extraordinary magic power, can increase magic power by 300 to 500 and physical fitness after eating, up to 10 units. Even those mythical lords would be moved by this level of meat, which cost a lot of magic stones to auction. After thinking for a while, Su-han opened the territorial warehouse to check the current resource storage area. Timber, 2.71 million units. Stone, 1.45 million units. Iron ore, 700,000 units. Refined iron, 230,000 units. Mithril, 4,800 units. Magic stone, 4,826 pieces. Magic crystal, 601 pieces. Materials, 70,000 traded to Qin Zhaoshui and An Weiwei to forge weapons and equipment. Food, 1,000 units. Weapons and equipment, 1 piece legendary equipment. Drawings, 18, 6 unidentified, 12 identified. Unit buildings, 3 venom lizard, horned devil, vampire bat. The resources are well accumulated. It takes 10,000 magic stones and 1,000 magic crystals to upgrade the ancestral dragon's nest to level 5. We have collected almost half of them now, and we can upgrade tomorrow at most. Instead, that piece of legendary equipment exploded from the Cyclops. I don't know what it is. Are there still 6 drawings that have not been identified? Find a chance to open them together. Then, Su-han looked at the first 5 resources and said, now that the resources are enough, it's time to upgrade to the High Palace to a second-tier city. Su-han walked to the first floor of the City Lord's mansion. Looking at the yellow core crystal in front of him, he hesitated. Do you want to upgrade to High Temple to Tier 2 city immediately? Now that the Supreme Hall has just been upgraded, the scope of the territory has been expanded to a radius of 100 kilometers, and none of the monsters in the newly added territory have been cleaned up. If the territory is upgraded again, the scope of the territory will expand again, and more monsters will be accumulated, making it easier for those powerful monsters to appear. At that time, there will be more local forces and Blue Star Lords in the territory, and it will be easy to expose his territory information. After hesitating for a while, Su-Han still decided to upgrade. Time is running out, the higher the level of the territory, the better. Now that you have the corresponding resources to upgrade your territory, if you don't upgrade, it's useless to keep it. The territory upgrade conditions have been met, do you want to upgrade immediately? Upgrade, Su-Han said directly. After the voice fell, the nuclear, 640, heart crystal suddenly burst into yellow light, covering the entire territory. Reminder: the safe territory is insufficient, and the urban area cannot continue to expand. Please choose from the following options, and the time is 10 seconds. Option 1. Continue to upgrade the territory. The scope of the territory will expand, but the urban area will remain unchanged. Option 2. Continue to upgrade the territory. The scope of the territory remains unchanged, the scope of the city remains unchanged, and the city wall is built. Surprise flashed in Su-Han's eyes. He didn't expect this kind of operation, but he made a decision immediately without thinking too much. Choose 2. Rumbling. Under this yellow light, the scope of the territory did not expand again, but outside the city of the Supreme Palace, 4 walls suddenly rose in the moat to firmly guard the Supreme Palace. Consume 1 million units of wood, 500,000 units of stone, 200,000 units of iron ore, 100,000 units of refined iron, and 2,000 units of mithril. The upgrade is successful. Your Supreme Palace has been upgraded to a second-tier city. Your core crystal defense value has been increased to 200,000. The reputation and influence of your territory's Supreme Hall in the Forest of Fear has greatly increased. All local forces know the existence of your territory and are ready to launch a war. When the yellow light dissipated, the crystal in front of Su-Han changed from yellow to green, and at the same time, he received a series of information prompts. Very good, finally a secondary city. Although the scope of the territory has not been improved, it is not a big problem. After all, this is only a nominal territory. It is the best choice to have more city walls in the Supreme Palace, otherwise it will not be able to defend against monster attacks in the future. However, why is the defense value of this core crystal still increasing? Isn't it linked to the scope of the territory? Maybe it will improve every time you upgrade. Su-Han read all the prompts with a smile on his face. The city wall is a very good defensive building. It can be said that it is a necessary building for the city. A city without a city wall is incomplete. With the city wall, the Supreme Hall is considered complete, and there is no fear of those monsters sneaking in to destroy the core crystal after the novice protection period is over. Su-Han smiled, and then opened the information panel of the Supreme Hall. Supreme Palace. Territory level. Secondary city. Territory range. 100 kilometers in radius. Ordinary buildings. City Lord's Mansion, warehouses, dwellings, lumber mills, quarries, ironworks, mills, training grounds, barracks, city walls. Soldier buildings. Ancestral Dragon Nest, Mythical Unique Temple of Glory, Ace Cave of Medusa, Top Human Stables, Advanced Banshee House, Advanced Barbarian Hut, Elite Goblin Hut, Elite. Territory features. Invincible, 5 days, 11 hours, 12 minutes. Next level. Tier 3 city. Upgrade conditions. 2 million units of wood, 1 million units of stone, 500,000 units of iron ore, 200,000 units of refined iron, and 5,000 units of mithril. Affiliation. None. Sure enough, the conditions for the Supreme Palace to be upgraded from a second-tier city to a third-tier city have been greatly improved. For those mythical lords, I'm afraid it's an astronomical figure. After all, they are only first-tier towns. The resources needed to upgrade from a first-tier town to a second-tier town are less than 200,000 resources. How can it be compared with a second-tier city to a third-tier city? This upgrade has consumed a lot of resources, and I don't know how many resources are left. It takes so many resources to upgrade to a third-tier city. How many resources do you need to upgrade to a first-tier main city? In terms of wood alone, it takes 2 million units to upgrade to a third-level city, and 5 million units or 10 million units to a first-level main city. Su-han looked at the information panel of the Supreme Hall, frowned slightly, and felt a lot of pressure in his heart. Even for him, gathering so many resources was difficult. Especially now that food depreciates seriously, it is not easy to sell, and it is impossible to obtain a lot of resources. If you want to get a lot of resources, the best way is to destroy the alien forces. You can get a lot of monster corpses, a lot of weapons and equipment, blueprints of magic stones and crystals, etc. Su-han sighed, shook his head slightly, and came to the territory warehouse. Then he opened the storage panel of the territorial warehouse to check the resource count. Materials: 1.71 million units. Stone: 950,000 units. Iron ore: 500,000 units. Refined iron: 130,000 units. Mithril: 2,800 units. Magic stone: 4,826 pieces. Magic crystal: 601 pieces. 70,000. Food: 0. Weapons and equipment: 1 piece. Legendary equipment. Drawings: 18, 6 unidentified, 12 identified. Unit buildings: 3 venom lizard, horned devil, vampire bat. Unexpectedly, the territory still has so many resources, and it is not far from upgrading to a third-level city. Timber is still 290,000 units short, stone is still 50,000 units short, iron ore is up to standard, and refined iron is still 70,000 units short. Mithril is still short of 2,200 units. These resources may be very large for other lords, but they are not many for me. I can collect them all this afternoon. At that time, the Supreme Palace can be upgraded to a third-tier city. What a surprise! Su-han looked at the resource reserves of the territory with a smile on his face. He thought it would take a lot of time, maybe it would take 2.5 years to upgrade to a high hall to a third-tier city tomorrow, but he didn't expect it to be so fast. Walking out of the city lord's mansion, Yin-han began to observe the situation of the entire territory. Compared with before, the city lord's mansion has a 9th floor, and the steps to the central square have become 60 steps. The central square has not been expanded, but there are many more buildings around it, dozens of residential buildings, 2 training grounds and 4 military barracks. The building of the Supreme Palace is close to 150, and it looks a little prosperous. Su-han looked at the moat again. Although the scope of the territory has not expanded, the moat has also been upgraded. The width of the moat became 30 meters, and the water depth was 10 meters. Once again, there were a lot of aquatic creatures such as fish and snakes. Inside the moat, there was a tall city wall. Although it was only 3 meters high, Su-han was quite satisfied. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.